What's happening, Manhwa champions? Don't forget to leave your feedback and smash that like button. Now let's dive into this epic tale. The scene opens with birds soaring high above, their peaceful flight starkly contrasting the grim atmosphere below. A deep rocky valley flanked by towering cliffs. Between these formidable walls stands a mysterious man clad entirely in black, a part of his face concealed, wielding a sword gleaming ominously under the sunlight. In a swift and deadly strike, his blade slices through the air with a powerful swoosh, cutting down a man dressed in purple, whose blood sprays vividly across the rocky terrain. The black-clad man, bearing a prominent scar across his face, coldly announces, "I'm busy. All of you, come at me, together." This formidable figure is Chun Hajin, the infamous assassin of the righteous Heavenly Alliance. As Chun stands amidst the carnage, a massive group of warriors emerges behind him, their purple robes emblazoned with a fierce tiger emblem. One man steps forward defiantly, sneering, "You're far too confident for someone who's only slain a few of our comrades." "Just a few guys?" Chun retorts sarcastically, his voice dripping with disdain. The warriors brandish their weapons, shouting fiercely, "We'll grant you your wish!" They launch themselves into the air, weapons drawn, lunging toward Chun. With chilling composure, Chun merely casts a side-eye glance at his airborne attackers. At the very last moment, Chun effortlessly swings his massive blade in a graceful arc, severing one enemy cleanly at the torso and swiftly decapitating the next mid-air. Blood and limbs scatter grotesquely around him. "I don't even remember how many I've killed," Chun muses darkly, gripping his enormous sword tightly with both hands. Another attacker is brutally cleaved from neck to torso, his body collapsing lifelessly to the blood-stained earth. Chun's powerful slash sends a blast of wind hurtling towards the remaining pursuers, momentarily halting their advance. Standing amid the swirling blood and debris, Chun's face remains partially hidden, but his fierce aura radiates unmistakably. He continues his grim internal monologue. "I simply cut down those who pursue me again and again." Undeterred, the purple-clad warriors rally, their leader raising his spear defiantly, shouting, "We have only one enemy. Don't let him push us back." Another enemy yells boldly, "Chun Hajin, it's time to die." Chun, unfazed by their threats, tightens his grip on his blade. Anger simmers in his voice as he steps forward slowly, challenging, "You want me to die? When the wind of freedom I've sought for 30 years is finally within reach." Digging his feet firmly into the sandy earth, Chun prepares for a devastating lunge. His eyes blaze with a ferocious intensity, declaring inwardly, "You bastards are the ones who deserve death. If killing all of you is what it takes to achieve my freedom, then so be it." With a powerful burst, Chun charges into the enemy ranks. In a breathtaking flash, he effortlessly cuts down 8 men in a single dash, leaving utter carnage in his wake. Panic spreads among the remaining warriors, yet their desperation propels them forward. They attempt to encircle Chun, swords thrusting from all sides, but then freeze in terror, eyes wide in disbelief. Chun stands atop their crossed blades, silhouetted heroically against the blazing sun. "Impossible," one man stammers in horror, sweat pouring down his face. "He's one of the top 10 strongest martial artists," another exclaims, his voice trembling. "The world's best assassin, the Assassin King, Chun Hajin," another shouts, fear palpable in his tone. Suspended momentarily above them, Chun's eyes glow golden with a fierce determination. With a deafening sonic boom, he plunges downward, slamming into the earth with such force it sends seismic tremors throughout the valley. Bodies fly in every direction, shattered by his terrifying strength. When the dust settles, Chun stands at the epicenter of devastation, the ground cracked and broken for miles around. Exhaustion weighs heavily upon him as he quietly admits to himself, "I'm tired. Have they finally stopped coming after me?" Yet before he can find relief, more pursuers rush forward, trampling over fallen comrades, shouting, "The Assassin King is over there. He's at his limits." Chun grimaces, sweat cascading down his brow, frustration evident in his tense expression. He mutters bitterly, "Damn it! There's no end to them." With immense effort, he heaves his blade from the shattered earth, eyes emanating a fierce blue energy. Glaring at the incoming warriors, his voice shakes with fury. Do you truly despise the thought of me gaining freedom that much? Facing the overwhelming display of Chun's terrifying aura, the three men freeze, their faces pale with dread, dripping sweat, unable to approach the looming figure whose power seems to dwarf their very existence. Chun stands amidst swirling intense blue energy, his eyes now burning a fierce, menacing red. He bellows with fury, "Don't block my path! I'll kill you all!" Gripping his sword tightly, he unleashes a devastating swing, releasing a wave of brilliant golden energy. The overwhelming force blasts his pursuers backward, hurling them violently into the canyon walls, their cries echoing through the valley. Suddenly, an ominous voice echoes through the air, cold and accusing. "Chun Hajin, you might hold the title of Assassin King, but you are nothing more than the righteous Heavenly Alliance leader's dog, a soulless, murderous demon." As night descends upon the valley, the moon casts its pale, ghostly glow onto the rocky terrain. Chun trudges forward, exhausted, sword dripping with the blood of his relentless pursuers. His breath comes in heavy, labored gasps. The accusing voice relentlessly continues, cutting deep into his conscience. "You've obeyed orders to kill without hesitation. What do you know about life? Half the world curses your very existence." Behind Chun lies a trail of devastation, bodies sprawled lifelessly across the ground, the grim evidence of his brutal escape. Bloodied and disheveled, Chun presses on toward the exit of the rocky valley. The voice persists, mercilessly taunting him. "Your entire life is drenched in death." Painfully, Chun grips a deep wound in his abdomen. With a grimace, he yanks free a dagger lodged in the injury, causing blood to pour forth uncontrollably. He collapses to the ground, blood splattering the desert sand beneath him as he coughs violently, struggling against overwhelming agony. "I must survive," Chun shouts with desperation, his voice echoing defiantly in the emptiness. "I've lived as the righteous Heavenly Alliance's dog my entire life." Wiping blood from his mouth, Chun's weathered face becomes visible, an elderly man marked by deep scars, white hair, and a flowing white beard, evidence of a life steeped in violence. Summoning sheer determination, Chun rises, biting down on his lip to endure the pain. "Damn it! I finally became free by cutting those chains. Get a grip, Chun Hajin!" he roars to himself, plunging his sword into the earth to steady himself. Mustering his remaining strength, Chun bolts forward, dashing desperately through a dense moonlit forest. His breath comes raggedly, sweat pouring from his forehead as he encourages himself just a bit further. There's a secret place nearby. I can heal my wounds and recover there. In his mind, Chun visualizes his sanctuary, a serene, secluded cottage nestled among towering rocks and lush foliage. "I will finally become free," he whispers resolutely, urging himself onward. Yet exhaustion overtakes him once more, and Chun collapses onto the forest floor, gasping for air. "Before I treat my wounds," he murmurs wearily, "I might lose my mind from hunger. Only a few pieces of beef jerky in 7 days. I'm starving." Staring up at the moon, Chun's thoughts drift longingly. "I could really go for some dumplings right now." At that very moment, a shadowy figure darts swiftly across the moon, blocking its light. The unknown assailant, cloaked entirely in black and wearing a straw hat and mask, lands with tremendous force precisely where Chun had just lain. The ground ruptures, scattering gravel violently. Instinctively, Chun leaps into the air, narrowly evading the devastating strike. His eyes widen in shock, teeth gritted in tension as realization dawns upon him. A stealth technique so advanced even I, the world's best assassin, didn't notice. He hovers momentarily above the mysterious attacker, heart pounding as the deadly confrontation looms. The camera zooms out, revealing two warriors facing each other amidst a dramatic backdrop. A massive rock behind Chun violently split by the sheer power of his mysterious attacker's landing. The assailant, previously standing still, suddenly moves like a phantom, swiftly closing the distance between them. "That technique," Chun thinks, astonishment evident in his widened eyes. The shadowy figure swiftly pulls back his sword and lunges forward, unleashing an intense blue aura slicing through the night. Chun narrowly dodges, yet the devastating energy wave cuts effortlessly through nearby trees, leaving chaos in its wake. The camera captures the widespread devastation from above, a testament to the assassin's unparalleled martial prowess. A skill powerful enough to cleave the forest with mere sword aura, Chun thinks in awe. Sweat drips down the masked man's partially revealed face as he casts a wary glance at Chun, who skillfully evaded his lethal attack. Chun lands gracefully on the opposite side, breathing heavily, sweat streaming down his face. He stares intently at his formidable opponent and utters with grave recognition, "Death Lord!" The scene expands, highlighting the fierce battlefield as wind rushes dramatically through the shattered forest. The two men, positioned back to back but separated by a significant distance, stare resolutely in opposite directions. Chun speaks firmly, voice strained yet defiant. "I understand why the righteous heavenly alliance pursues me, but to think the Steel Blood Fortress, the Steel King's 8 elites, and even you would intervene." Slowly turning to face each other, Chun continues with scathing disdain. "Did you really think the Murim would acknowledge someone like you as one of the top 10 martial masters if you simply cut down an opponent exhausted from fighting hundreds of warriors?" His eyes blaze with anger, his voice rising fiercely. "You, who'll be sliced to pieces, fighting a nearly spent warrior?" The Death Lord's eyes flare red in frustration, and without further hesitation, both warriors leap into the air with extraordinary speed. Their swords aimed forward, they clash violently mid-air, metal against metal, igniting brilliant sparks. The camera focuses sharply on the duel, both men suspended briefly, swords locked. Suddenly, blood sprays from the Death Lord's side, a quick, unexpected strike. Both combatants land opposite each other, visibly drained from their explosive confrontation. Blood begins to spill from the Death Lord's mouth, dripping onto the forest floor. A grievous wound marks his neck from their brief, intense clash. Chun, still gripping his sword slick with blood, watches grimly as the Death Lord's sword hand falls lifelessly to the ground. Exhausted, yet alert, Chun exhales deeply, his breath heavy and labored. Casting a suspicious glance to his side, he calls out coldly, "If you're done watching, how about you come out already?" Suddenly, the forest begins to wither, the lush greenery wilting, trees decaying rapidly as a figure gracefully strides forward. Delicate purple shoes step lightly through the dying foliage, leading up to a stunning woman clad in an elegant white and pink robe, surrounded by an ethereal pink aura. A chill of dread visibly grips Chun as his gaze meets the approaching figure, his voice trembling with fear. "Secret Demon Queen!" Stepping fully into view, the captivating woman smiles enchantingly, her striking yellow eyes locking onto Chun. Her voice, soft yet commanding, resonates clearly. "What an honor it is for you to still remember me. Has it been about 6 years?" She pauses, her graceful smile broadening slightly, eyes twinkling mysteriously as she greets him. "Long time no see, Chun Hajin." The scene returns to the grim battlefield from earlier, a deep rocky valley bordered by towering, imposing cliffs. The moon casts its eerie glow upon countless bodies sprawled across the desolate terrain, grim reminders of Chun Hajin's fierce battle. Amidst the silent aftermath, a lone horseman slowly rides through, accompanied by his subordinates carefully examining the fallen warriors. One subordinate approaches a lifeless body, flips it over roughly, and urgently calls out, "First Elder! All the corpses here belong to the martial masters of the Steel Blood Fortress." The camera shifts focus to reveal the distinguished elderly man upon the horse. Clad in a pristine white robe, his long white hair and majestic beard convey a powerful presence. This imposing figure is none other than the righteous Heavenly Alliance's First Elder, Jung Ilryong. Eyes narrowed and intense, the First Elder surveys the carnage before him. A menacing tone fills his voice as he addresses his subordinates. "To think Chun Hajin slipped past our insurmountable net formation and slaughtered so many Steel Blood Fortress martial masters. He truly lives up to his title as the Assassin King." Raising his hand commandingly, he summons his followers to gather around him. Immediately, all subordinates hasten to kneel respectfully before him. With a voice that echoes with authority and menace, the First Elder commands, "Follow the death energy left by the secret Demon Queen. That is where Chun Hajin will be found." The scene opens within the shadowed, desolate forest. Bathed in chilling moonlight, Chun Hajin stands tensely, directly facing the enigmatic, secret demon queen. Nearby lies the lifeless body of the Death Lord, a stark reminder of their brutal confrontation. Chun, breathing heavily, sweat streaming down his brow, clenches his teeth as he utters fiercely, "Secret Demon Queen!" Slowly and gracefully, the Demon Queen advances toward him, enveloped in a mysterious pink aura. With a calm yet unnerving smile, she speaks softly. "What an honor that you still remember me. Has it already been 6 years?" Her golden eyes shimmer ominously as she adds softly, "Long time no see." Information swiftly appears. Secret Demon Queen Kwak Sokyo. Despite appearing youthful through a rejuvenation technique, she is over 60 years old. At first glance, she seems incapable of harming anyone, yet her true nature is revealed as a devilish murderer who cannot sleep a night without spilling blood. Two contrasting images flash briefly. One, gentle and angelic. The other, sinister and terrifying, holding a skull and bearing elongated, deadly nails. Chun, visibly distressed, thinks to himself, as if sending the Steelblood Fortress's top assassins and troops wasn't enough. They even roped in this mad murderer. They must be desperate to capture me. His grip tightens on his sword as his gaze sharpens, golden eyes glinting fiercely despite his visible exhaustion. "Oh, I'm so disappointed," the Demon Queen says mockingly, observing his drawn sword. "Drawing your sword first when we share such a special relationship." "Special relationship, my ass," Chun angrily retorts, aiming his blade directly at her. "Quit spouting nonsense, Demon Queen." She tilts her head dismissively, eyes momentarily closed. "How frivolous. You can't possibly withstand many more strikes in your current state. I'll recommend an easier way out." Summoning his remaining strength, Chun's sword erupts with a blue energy. Defiantly, he snaps back, "Why don't you see how many strikes I can handle? Why should I fear a 60-year-old grandma who does nothing but talk trash?" Infuriated, the Demon Queen's eyes flare open sharply. "Call me grandma one more time and I'll rip your spine out, regardless of how much you beg." Undeterred, Chun smirks boldly. "Oh my, how terrifying. You've grown sensitive about your age since I last saw you, Grandma." Initially enraged, the Demon Queen quickly calms, an unsettling smirk crossing her lips. Chun hesitates briefly, wary of her sudden composure. She raises her hand slowly, menacing nails protruding from her fingertips, her voice dripping with amusement. "Indeed, you are the righteous Heavenly Alliance's finest assassin. It makes sense the Steelblood Fortress would specifically request my assistance." Her smile deepens sinisterly. "Your core energy holds an annoyingly pure aura. It clearly belongs to the Great 9-6. Her expression turns predatory, eyes glinting with hunger. "How intriguing. They want you captured alive, yet you've eliminated countless masters. You've definitely learned the 9-6 martial prowess and its hidden secrets." As the Demon Queen's pink energy intensifies, she reaches forward menacingly. Chun meets her gaze fiercely. "I understand now why you stalled with nonsense. You prefer spilling blood over conversation. You want the secret martial arts and confidential knowledge from the righteous Heavenly Alliance," Chun declares firmly. Her brow furrows slightly in reluctant admiration. "I underestimated you. You're not just a mindless assassin. You do use your brain." With determination, Chun glances briefly at the Death Lord's lifeless body, then directly confronts her. "But you, Demon Queen, have no intention of sharing these secrets with the Steelblood Fortress, even if you uncover them, correct?" She smirks dismissively, acknowledging openly, "Indeed, you've figured me out. Neither the Steelblood Fortress nor the righteous Heavenly Alliance's secrets matter to me. All I desire is the 9-6 martial prowess." The scene momentarily shifts to an emblem of the 9-6 martial prowess, warriors diligently practicing beneath its symbol. Seductively, she proposes, "Reveal it to me, and I'll let you live. Isn't that a fair deal?" Chun shakes his head bitterly, sweat dripping relentlessly down his face, sword unwavering. "Why are there always disloyal scum in the Great Lakes? That's not a fair deal. I'm already dying." She licks her lips provocatively, eyes glinting sharply. Ah, is it because of the blood parasite? Stunned, Chun's eyes widen dramatically. Internally, his mind reels. The blood parasites. The scene shifts as Chun's eyes narrow, diving deep into his memories. His voice echoes with grim finality. It is the end of all those who betrayed the righteous heavenly alliance. A haunting vision unfolds. A girl with long blue hair lying lifeless on the ground, her body covered in blood, eyes frozen open, tears still glimmering on her cheeks. From her mouth, a blood parasite crawls out, its form pulsating with dark energy. Blood stains her clothing, vivid and unforgiving. Chun's monologue continues, "The blood parasites in your bodies will deliver judgment for your betrayal." Suddenly, the scene shifts to a younger Chun, standing in the pouring rain, blood streaming from a deep wound on his forehead, trickling past his eyes. His expression is hard and unyielding. "I saved your life and you forsake my mercy," he growls, fists clenched as crimson streaks flow from his brow. "Your life and death are solely possessed by the leader of the righteous heavenly alliance." His voice echoes menacingly as the scene flashes with images of demonic blood parasites, writhing and crawling in darkness. Chun's eyes snap back to the present, locking onto the secret demon queen. Her aura still pulses with that malevolent pink energy, her long nails shimmering under the moonlight. "Chun Hajin, you will never be able to forsake the righteous heavenly alliance," she says coldly. Her voice softens slightly, though dripping with malice. "Yes, the blood parasites. If you simply get rid of it, you wouldn't have to worry about them anymore. Whether you expose the secrets of the 9-6 or any other sect, it wouldn't matter." The revelation sends a shockwave through Chun. His eyes widen, his breath catches as sweat trickles steadily down his face. He stands there, visibly stunned and speechless. The demon queen's smirk widens as she observes his reaction, her hands still encased in that eerie pink aura. "I've studied the demonic arts of the god of death," she boasts, voice echoing with pride. "I am knowledgeable in all toxins and poisons. With my demonic prowess, I can remove the blood parasite from your body." Chun, still processing the revelation, remains silent, his head bowed as beads of sweat roll down his face. The fight in his eyes seems momentarily extinguished. The demon queen's voice purrs with confidence as she takes slow, deliberate steps toward him. "How about it, Chun Hajin?" she taunts, her pink aura flaring slightly. Chun still clutches his sword tightly, eyes locked on the ground, unmoving. "I can set you free," she whispers, her voice dripping with temptation as she closes the distance between them. "All I ask is that you teach me the 9-6 martial prowess," she says, her smile widening, eyes gleaming with anticipation. Suddenly, Chun scoffs, a sound that catches the demon queen off guard. Her confident smile falters, replaced by a look of confusion. Chun chuckles softly, his head still bowed, before raising his gaze, eyes burning with fierce determination. "Hey, demon queen," he says with a crooked grin. "Do you think the only reason the righteous heavenly alliance is chasing me is because I ran away from them?" The demon queen's eyes narrow, sweat forming on her brow as uncertainty flickers across her face. You didn't," she murmurs, disbelief spreading across her expression. Chun's smile widens defiantly. "Of course not," he snarls, his voice brimming with power. "I'm also one of the top 10 strongest martial masters." His gaze sharpens with intensity. "I already learned how to expel the blood parasite 5 years ago, but I needed more power to break through the inescapable net formation." A vivid flashback erupts, a memory of Chun, hands pressed to the ground, straining as he forced a pulsating, vile purple parasite out of his body. The parasite writhes on the floor, oozing a sickening mixture of violet and crimson blood. Chun collapses to the dirt, panting heavily, his eyes blazing with defiance. His voice echoes back into the present. "It took me years to train for it. I thought I was nearly there." Another vision emerges, a towering figure clad in ceremonial robes, standing before a grand palace, the emblem of the martial alliance shimmering proudly behind him. Chun's eyes narrow back on the demon queen, his voice dripping with disdain. "You're going to let me live if I hand over the 9-6 martial prowess?" he questions, voice sharp and edged with sarcasm. The Demon Queen stares back, her gaze unyielding. Their eyes lock in a tension-filled silence before Chun's face twists with rage. "Stop uttering such bullshit! You think I don't know your disgusting nature?" he roars. "I had 30 years of my life stolen by those bastards." The Demon Queen remains still, her expression unmoving, yet her eyes burn with intensity. Chun's voice rises, veins bulging with fury. "I will never be fooled again. Get out of my sight." Suddenly, his aura reignites, the blue energy swirling fiercely around his body and sword. The Demon Queen's smile falters, her own pink aura blazing back to life, rippling with dark energy. But Chun isn't done. His gaze sharpens as he snarls, "If you run off now, you might still spare your disgusting life." The Demon Queen's eyes narrow dangerously, her aura pulsing with murderous intent. "How dare you say such a thing when you're already dead?" Her expression twists, eyes thinning like a serpent's. "I've never let anyone live who insulted me." She stretches out her arm, energy surging through her fingertips, her expression darkening. "You're not going to teach me the martial prowess, are you?" "That's what your eyes tell me," she growls, locking onto his fierce gaze. "It's not like your eyes are saying I'll survive this." Chun shifts into a fighting stance, the blue aura radiating intensely from his sword. In response, the Demon Queen's face contorts grotesquely, her mouth stretching unnaturally wide, teeth sharpening to razor edges. Her eyes roll back, revealing a monstrous glare as she hisses venomously, "Then die, you useless fucker." Chun fires back instantly. "You die, you fucking grandma." They lunge forward with terrifying force, their auras colliding, blue against pink, creating a cataclysmic shockwave. The force rattles the entire forest, sending rocks and debris flying in all directions. Trees are uprooted, dust storms rage, and a mushroom cloud of energy erupts from their impact. As the dust settles, Chun and the Demon Queen are locked in a brutal stance, his sword held high over her head, her long nails buried deep into his sword arm. Chun screams out in pain, blood pouring from the wound, eyes wild with fury. In the distance, the first elder appears, clad in white robes, his sword drawn, rushing toward the battle. Chun's eyes widen as he senses his approach. "The first elder? Since when did he get here?" Without hesitation, the first elder swings his sword in a blinding arc. Swoosh! Chun's legs are severed clean off, blood sprays into the air. At the same moment, the Demon Queen strikes with lethal precision. Swoosh! Both of Chun's hands are severed, his sword clattering to the ground. Chun looks up in disbelief as his blood fills the air. But the horror isn't over. Bam! The Demon Queen's hand plunges straight through his chest, her fingers piercing through to the other side. Blood bursts from his back and Chun's eyes widen in agony, his face twisted with the sheer intensity of pain. The camera zooms out to reveal the gruesome scene. The first elder stands solemnly, his sword still dripping with fresh blood, while the Demon Queen retracts her hand from Chun Hajin's chest. His body, now limbless and armless, begins to sway backward. Blood gushes from his mouth as he tries desperately to steady himself before collapsing to his knees. The ground beneath him is shattered and stained with crimson, pooling around him as his strength drains away. In one swift motion, the Demon Queen grabs Chun's bloodied face, her grip unyielding and cruel. His eyes bulge, mouth overflowing with blood, yet defiance flickers in his gaze, an ember of rage that refuses to die. The Demon Queen leans closer, her smile wide and gleefully twisted. "What a sight," she sneers, gripping his face tighter. "Now that you've lost your limbs, perhaps I should pluck your head off too," she coos mockingly, squeezing his face harder. Blood seeps from his eyes as the pressure intensifies, his vision blurring with red. Her face contorts into a wicked grin, teeth bared in sadistic delight. Without another word, bam! In a single brutal motion, she rips his head straight from his body. Blood sprays wildly, staining the already destroyed landscape. The Demon Queen reverts instantly back to her innocent, serene expression, her smile stretching even wider as she cradles Chun's severed head. "Crawl around in hell like a parasite," she whispers coldly. Around them, soldiers begin to emerge, forming ranks around the carnage, their faces grim and unyielding. Suddenly, Chun's voice echoes in an inner monologue. Finally, is this wretched moment the last sight before my death? His thoughts linger painfully. I just wanted to live an ordinary life, even just for a moment, as if it were a dream. The scene shifts to the moonlit sky, the light gleaming off the blood-soaked battlefield. Stars twinkle brightly, indifferent to the brutality below. Chun's monologue continues, his vision blurring as darkness creeps in, slowly turning to white. Like an ordinary man, an ordinary human, is that really so impossible? His mind, his consciousness, drifts further into that blinding white light. If I were to get another chance, his final thought echoes, fading into silence. The scene transitions abruptly, a massive mansion encased by towering trees. The camera sweeps through the dense forest, revealing the grand structure hidden within. A sign appears, Heavenly, Demon Divine Cult's Main Sanctuary. Inside the sanctuary, a young boy lies motionless on a grand bed, his body frail and disheveled, ribs visible through his thin frame. His hand twitches weakly, brushing against the red satin sheets. The camera pans up to his face, eyes closed, face pale, but unmistakably alive. The scene lingers as Chun's final words echo through the silence. If I were to get another chance? Abruptly, the boy's eyes snap open, his gaze sharp and intense, life surging back into his veins. A view from above reveals his long brown hair splayed across the red sheets, a sharp contrast to the pale color of his skin. The scene opens with a breathtaking view of the Heavenly Demon Divine Cult's inner sanctuary, its grand architecture bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun. High-rising houses nestled between lush green trees stretch as far as the eye can see, their shadows elongating gracefully as the sun dips lower in the sky. Inside one of the grand structures, a man garbed in white robes steps quietly into a room. The air is thick with the scent of incense and the faint haze of pipe smoke. Across from him, another figure sits leisurely, a pipe in hand, exhaling wisps of smoke that curl and dance through the air. The man in white kneels immediately, one knee to the ground, his fist clenched tightly against his chest. His head bows low in respect. The divine teachings are unquestionable. All demons fall at your feet. I greet you, the 40th young lord of the divine cult, the man declares solemnly. The camera pans closer, revealing the figure smoking the pipe, his eyes obscured by a veil of smoke. His posture is relaxed, almost regal, as he inhales deeply before releasing another cloud of fragrant mist. Still kneeling, the man continues, voice steady and sure. I just felt his pulse for the third... He pauses, correcting himself with a smirk. I mean, Xiaoyang will die tonight. A cunning glint shines in his old eyes. The fourth young lord, seated before him, exhales a stream of smoke and responds simply, I see. The camera zooms out, revealing the vast room, silent, filled with shadows and secrets. The fourth young lord's thoughts swirl as he contemplates the news. Things are going better than I expected, he muses internally, his expression cool and calculating. The scene then shifts abruptly, diving back into the memories of Hajin's past. Bodies are sprawled across a blood-soaked battlefield, piled high and lifeless. Rain drizzles from the gray sky, pooling crimson on the rocky ground. To Hajin, are you done? A voice calls out. Among the bodies, a younger Chun Hajin responds firmly. Yes, I've killed everyone on this side. Perched atop a jagged rock formation, Hajin and his blue-haired comrade sit in silence. Let's take a rest then, the blue-haired man suggests, wiping sweat from his brow. Hajin nods, stretching his arms and catching his breath. You're right, Hajin agrees, his eyes scanning the carnage, but we can't rest too long. The leader said we can't be detected. His comrade reaches into his coat, pulling out a small object. Hajin eyes it curiously. Huh? What's that? The blue-haired man smiles faintly. You want to see? He extends his hand, revealing the object to Hajin. Hajin's eyes widen. A bird? A carving of a bird? He asks, gently taking it in his hand. Did you carve it? His friend nods thoughtfully. Hajin, aren't you tired of living as an assassin? He asks, his gaze distant, voice filled with longing. Hajin stares at him, confusion etched on his face. His friend's eyes remain fixed on the horizon. I'm going to get out of here, using any means necessary, and I'll live the rest of my life as free as a bird, he declares. Hajin's friend touches the hilt of his sword, voice resolute. I'll go down to the rural regions where I can smell fresh greenery instead of the stench of blood. Hajin's eyes light up with hope. I want to go too, he exclaims, voice filled with desperation. I want to go to the fresh green rural regions. His friend looks at him, his expression hardening. What? He asks, voice incredulous. You can't. Don't even think about it. Why not? Let's go together, Hajin presses. No, his friend snaps back harshly. Take me with you, Hajin insists. Shut up, his friend shouts, silencing him. Their voices fade into the rain, lingering over the battlefield of fallen warriors. Suddenly, another memory crashes into view. Hajin in the pouring rain, eyes wide with shock, blood streaming from a wound above his brow. He looks down at his fallen friend, the blue-haired comrade sprawled out lifelessly, eyes glazed over with finality. Rain mixes with blood, pooling beneath his body. What's wrong? Hajin cries out, panic evident in his voice. A dark, foreboding voice interrupts the moment. I saved your life and you forsake my mercy by trying to run away, the voice growls. Hajin turns sharply, his eyes filled with disbelief. Standing tall above him is a man draped in black, flanked by 4 others, their faces obscured by shadow. The leader's voice is cruel and unyielding. Take a good look. This is the end of all who betray the righteous heavenly alliance, he declares. The blood parasites in your bodies will relay judgment for your betrayal. The vision sharpens, revealing the blood parasites wrapped around the boy's heart, squeezing tightly, stealing the last breath from his lungs. Hajin's eyes widen in horror, frozen by the sight. Another memory bursts forth, the demon queen clutching his head, her voice echoing, Oh no, I should pluck your head off too so you never utter anything else again. The grotesque image of her ripping his head from his shoulders flashes vividly. Back in the present, the boy lying on the luxurious bed suddenly bolts upright, drenched in sweat, eyes wide with shock. Ah, he shouts, heart pounding. What was that dream? He whispers shakily. His eyes dart around the lavish room. I was just beheaded by the demon queen. The camera zooms in, his expression frantic. Where is this place anyway, he wonders, glancing at the beautifully painted walls and ornate decorations. This room, it seems so luxurious. His gaze snaps to the door. His instincts sharpen. I sense someone, he thinks, eyes narrowing. The door opens gently and a woman enters, holding a tray with a bowl and chopsticks. Her steps are light, her presence almost delicate. Young lord, it's Angwa, she calls out, her voice gentle. She looks toward the bed, but it's empty. Huh? Young lord? She whispers, confusion spreading across her face. In an instant, a chopstick is pressed firmly against her throat, held tightly by none other than Chun Hajin. Shh, he whispers menacingly. Do you know what will happen to you if you make a sound? Her eyes widen in terror, her body stiffening under his grip. Young lord, it's me, your servant, Angwa, she stammers, eyes locked on the chopstick at her throat. Why are you acting this way? Did something happen? Hajin's grip tightens. Stop with the nonsense and tell me the truth, he growls, gaze sharp and unyielding. Who brought me here? Brought you here? She echoes, confusion filling her eyes. You've been here for a long time, young lord. You've been unconscious for 6 months due to chai blockage and only woke up 2 nights ago. Chun Hajin's eyes narrow in disbelief. I died, he whispers under his breath. Not content with her answer, he demands again. Stop fooling around and tell me the truth. Angwa shakes her head, trembling. It's true, she insists. You've been here. Hajin's gaze shifts to a mirror across the room. His breath catches. The reflection staring back is not his own. Who is this bastard? He whispers. His hands tremble as memories of his death flood back. I was killed, decapitated by the demon queen. Staggering back, he whispers, What is this? His mind swirls with questions, terror clinging to his every thought. Is this Reincarnation? Angwa, his servant, stands frozen, her gaze fixed on him. Young lord, she stammers, clutching the tray tightly to steady her shaking hands. Her expression is a mixture of shock and disbelief. Chun Hajin, now fully realizing the enormity of his situation, stumbles back, slamming hard against the wall. His eyes are wide with confusion as his mind races. Then, where am I? He whispers shakily. The wall he slammed into shudders slightly, causing the window behind him to crack open. Sunlight spills through the gap, illuminating his face with a warm glow. Chun turns slowly, his eyes squinting as he peers through the opening. His breath catches in his throat. Before him stretches a massive courtyard, lush with greenery and flanked by towering walls. His sanctuary lies in the center, basked in sunlight and surrounded by breathtaking architecture. His eyes widen in disbelief. How could a place like this exist in Murim? He wonders, his voice barely above a whisper. The camera zooms out, revealing the grandeur of the courtyard in its entirety. Far in the distance, two men are seen walking purposefully towards his sanctuary. Chun's gaze sharpens as he mutters, "And who are they?" As the two approach the grand window, Chun observes them more closely. One is clad in white robes, regal and pristine, while the other wears black robes with white trimmings, exuding an air of menace. The man in black stops, his eyes locking fiercely with Chun's through the window. Their stares collide with an intensity that sends a shiver down Chun's spine. Internally, Chun's thoughts whirl. Who is this? He questions, sweat beading on his brow as anxiety creeps into his expression. Without warning, the man in black drops to one knee with such force that the ground beneath him splinters, rocks scattering. His voice booms with fervor. The divine teachings are unquestionable. All demons fall at your feet. He clenches his fist against his palm, bowing deeply. Congratulations on your recovery, third young lord. Chun's mouth falls open, his eyes wide with disbelief. Divine teachings are what? He mutters, mind racing with questions. If it's a divine cult within Murim, the heavenly demon divine cult, the demon cult. His mind floods with uncertainty and confusion. The scene shifts abruptly. Heavy footsteps echo through an opulent corridor draped in golden curtains and lit by the warm glow of ornate lanterns. The floor is lined with a rich crimson carpet stretching endlessly toward an imposing throne. The camera sweeps overhead, capturing the grandiosity of the room as a figure moves purposefully along the carpet, head bowed slightly in reverence. He reaches the end, where another figure sits menacingly upon the throne, a bottle of wine resting casually beside him. The man kneels, fist to palm, his voice steady and strong. The divine teachings are unquestionable. All demons fall at your feet. The first royal god of the divine cult greets the demon lord. As the camera zooms in, the man is revealed as Mudum, the first royal god of the heavenly demon divine cult. Mudum kneels low, his head bowed deeply as he addresses the figure upon the throne. Shadows obscure the demon lord's face, but the faintest smirk is visible, a glimmer of menace in the dim light. What brings you here today? The demon lord inquires, his voice smooth yet edged with authority. Mudum, keeping his head bowed, answers with practiced humility. There is something I must report. Speak, the demon lord commands, voice reverberating through the grand hall. Mudum's voice remains steady. The third young lord has awakened. The demon lord shifts slightly, his elbow resting against the arm of his throne, chin perched thoughtfully on his fist. The third? He echoes, his tone questioning. Yes, however, Mudum continues as the camera pans to the beauty and opulence of the demon lord's inner sanctuary, illuminated softly by golden light. He has lost all his martial prowess from overexertion. The words hang heavy in the air. The demon lord's gaze sharpens, but his posture remains relaxed. And what would you like to do with the third young lord? Mudum asks cautiously, head still bowed, eyes locked firmly on the red carpet. The demon lord, his face still resting against his fist, is silent for a moment. Then suddenly, his voice booms through the hall. First royal god, he shouts, the sheer intensity of his voice sending shockwaves through the room. Mudum clenches his fists against the carpet to steady himself as the demon lord's power ripples through the air. Candles flicker wildly from the sheer force of his command. "Speak your will, my lord," Mudam responds, his voice steady despite the violent energy surging around him. The demon lord slowly raises his hand, his expression unchanging. "Until the closing ceremony in 3 months, do not provide me with any further reports." His eyes flash a chilling red, illuminating the shadows of his face, revealing the sheer magnitude of his power. Then, just as quickly, the light vanishes, his face slipping back into the darkness. Mudam, still bowed, looks up cautiously, taking in the demon lord's expression. He bows deeply before rising. "I sincerely hope that you may accomplish the great deed," he says with unwavering respect, head bowed to the floor. The demon lord merely waves him off dismissively, his gaze turning back to the shadows as if the matter had never existed. The scene opens with a grand introduction to the heavenly demon divine cult. A powerful narration echoes through the frame. The heavenly demon divine cult, the so-called 1,000-year demonic cult, is the oldest and most evil demonic power of this generation. Created several thousand years ago by the Murim master, it stands as the most feared force across the land. The screen flashes with images of martial arts warriors clad in black and red robes, their faces hidden beneath shadow hoods. Their stances are powerful, disciplined, radiating with lethal precision. In terms of martial power, they are the strongest. Just by existing, the entire Murim world quakes in anxiety as it is a living symbol of chaos. Emblems of the righteous heavenly alliance and the Steel Blood Fortress appear, each bearing its own sigil, a tiger for the alliance and a bird for the Steel Blood. The narration continues. Though outnumbered by the foundations of the righteous heavenly alliance and the Steel Blood Fortress, the heavenly demon stands as part of the powerful triad. Amongst them, the heavenly demon is feared more than war or pandemics, the most evil demonic group known. The monologue concludes with the screen fading back to reality, where we find Chun Hajin, now in the body of the third young master of the demonic cult, standing silently on the balcony of his sanctuary. The sunlight bathes his face as he stares out into the courtyard, eyes glowing with newfound life. His gaze sweeps over the towering structures of the demonic cult, shadows stretching far across the cobblestone paths below. He mutters to himself, voice laced with disbelief. So, how did I wake up here? Did I really obtain a second life? His eyes flicker with frustration as he clenches his fists. "But why? Why is it the demon cult?" he shouts aloud, voice echoing through the sanctuary. Taking a deep breath, he turns toward the mirror, his reflection staring back at him. His eyes scan his youthful face, disbelief etched into his features. "No, stay calm. I need to get a grasp on this situation and plan for the future," he murmurs, his tone more collected. The scene shifts, transitioning smoothly to the night before, the demonic cult's manor illuminated in the golden brilliance of the moonlight. Chun Hajin, dressed in black, crouches stealthily atop one of the roofs, his posture nimble and cat-like. "I guess a stealth technique is still too much," he mutters, glancing down at the quiet streets below. His eyes catch two figures walking along the cobblestone path beneath him. Their voices drift up to him. The strongest among the 7 demonic cult disciples, the third young lord, is awake again. "A bloody battle is bound to start soon," one whispers. The other nods warily. "Be careful. Don't get caught up in it and end up dead." Hajin watches quietly from the rooftop, hidden in shadow. "It's a miracle to wake up after 6 months from a state of Chichai blockage," one continues, shaking his head. "I heard he lost all his martial prowess." A cat brushes against his leg, startling him momentarily as he crouches further behind the edge of the wall. Their voices continue. If there's even a fraction of his power left, like his nickname suggests, he really is a monstrous demon. Hajin's eyes narrow with suspicion. Monstrous demon. Just how did he live his life? He wonders internally, eyes shadowed with unease. The scene shifts back to the morning, sunlight streaming through the open windows of the demon cult's manor. Hajin leans against the door frame, his gaze sweeping over the grand courtyard. "Anyways, I'm certain this is the demon cult," he sighs, voice filled with resignation. "To escape from here, I need a thorough plan." He takes a long, deep breath, scanning his reflection. His body, frail and worn, looks nearly skeletal. Although it was just an hour last night, that stealth technique was too much, he mutters, shaking his head. His form flickers briefly, a ghostly haze escaping from his lips as he exhales. To be honest, just being alive is admirable, he whispers, voice tinged with grim humor. This body, it's like an 80-year-old geyser, he scoffs, glancing at his frail hands. Straightening up, he takes a seat, crossing his legs and folding his hands together in a cultivation posture. His eyes closed, breath steadying. All right, let's have a look, he thinks to himself. A brilliant glow emerges from his body as he begins to cultivate. His meridians, flowing streams of energy, light up with radiant force. From his head, neck, chest, torso, and all the way down to his hands and knees, his energy flows brightly, illuminating the room. Internally, he whispers, I knew it. The extraordinary 8 meridians are all messed up. His hands glow with a soft pink aura as he sits in deep concentration. I'm going to remove the small and rotten dungeon, he resolves, focusing his energy between his hands. His aura shifts from pink to blue, swirling in his palms. The temperature in the room rises sharply, moisture clinging to the walls as power radiates from his body. Seek truth amidst chaos, blaze through vacuum, and break through the conduits of life. Bring forth turbidity with a thought, and the world shall reward you with fortune, he chants, his voice low and steady. Energy flows in swirling streams of blue and pink, his hair lifting gently as the force grows stronger. The room shimmers with radiant light, his boundless technique in full motion. A vivid flashback unfolds, images of his past life, walking bloodied through a dark forest, limbs heavy with exhaustion. He cultivates atop a jagged rock, blue energy pulsating from his form, illuminating the night. Back in the present, Hajin's eyes snap open, his body subtly rejuvenated, energy coursing through his veins. He exhales deeply, beads of sweat trickling down his forehead. Phew. He sighs with relief, placing his hand on his knee as he rises from the cultivation posture. His eyes sweep the room. Is this my limit? He murmurs, stretching his limbs. Well, with this, I achieved a small goal. Looking out into the silent room, he frowns slightly. It's been quite some time since I woke up, he observes. Besides the doctor, no one has visited me. Memories flicker through his mind, 2 doctors bowing respectfully before his bed. The rate of your recovery is quite fast, one remarked. Until we visit you again, please look after yourself, the other added. Hajin scoffs, thinking back to the servant girl, Angwa, who trembled as she handed him his herbal medicine. This bastard's nickname is Monstrous Demon. I'm certain he was a troublemaker with a trashy personality, he mutters, watching the memory of Angwa shivering before him. His gaze sharpens. Until I get an understanding of this place, don't act rash, Chun Hajin. As the beautiful view of the large mountainscape where the Demon Cult Manor sits comes into view. The scene picks up 3 months later, the Demon Cult Manor once again illuminated beneath the vast night sky with the moon hovering majestically above. Shadows drape the ancient structures, their forms outlined in silver light. It's strange, a voice mutters. The camera pans to a familiar pipe freshly placed on a holder, smoke curling gracefully from its tip. It's been 3 months since he's consumed it. Yet nothing has happened, says the figure holding the pipe. Yes, instead he's recovering at an even faster rate, responds another voice from the shadows. Their figures are obscured, their backs turned to the camera. The man in white robes steps into view, recognizable as the doctor who once cared for the second young master. A chilling voice breaks the silence. Didn't you say the stronger the trace of martial prowess, the more fatal it is? The shadowed figure asks. The doctor nods hesitantly. Yes, that's what I said. However, it's strange. Sioryang, the figure says, stepping into the light, revealing himself as Hong-Ul Moon, the 4th young lord of the heavenly demon divine cult. He exhales deeply from his pipe, his expression cold and calculating. He always exceeds my expectations, he muses with a sly smile stretching across his lips. The doctor, still bowed slightly, lifts his eyes from the floor. What should we do now? He inquires cautiously. The 4th young lord turns slightly, his gaze steady. When is Ren coming? He questions. The doctor straightens his posture. I believe Ren should be arriving at the main temple around noon, he answers. A flicker of amusement crosses the 4th young lord's face as he murmurs, Has it been 6 months since Ren has been back? That's right, the doctor affirms. Hong Woo-moon's eyes gleam with anticipation. Something interesting will happen soon, he whispers with certainty. Continue observing and reporting. I understand, the doctor responds, bowing deeply. The beautiful night slowly transitions into a vibrant sunrise, casting golden rays over the demon cult's manor, illuminating its sprawling grounds and towering pagodas. Inside a secluded room, the camera sweeps dramatically over Chun Hajin, his fists slicing through the air, arms slashing with precision. His movements are fluid and powerful, his body dripping with sweat as he executes each form with lethal grace. He throws a series of punches, his fists tearing through the air, followed by calculated kicks and stomps that rattle the very foundation of the room. A final strike shatters the ground beneath him, splintering the floorboards. This is better, he breathes out, sweat glistening off his muscular frame, his body now visibly recovered from the frail state it was in 3 months ago. The camera zooms out, revealing the devastation of the training room, holes in the walls, cracks in the floor, and broken training mannequins strewn across the space. Hajin breathes heavily, hands resting on his knees as he takes in the damage. I gave it my all to get this shitty body back to normal. 3 months of absolute hell. Thanks to that, the remaining cloud energy and demonic energy have finally disappeared. The door slides open quietly and Anghwa, his servant, steps in with a tray, her hands slightly trembling. Ye young lord, here is your herbal medicine, she announces meekly, extending the tray towards him. Hearing her voice, Hajin glances back, wiping the sweat from his brow. Ah, thanks, he responds, his voice calm. He reaches out, taking the bowl from the tray and bringing it to his lips. As the liquid touches his tongue, his eyes go wide. He looks down at the contents of the bowl, blood parasites writhing and pulsating in the liquid. His heart hammers in his chest. The bowl crashes to the floor, shattering, the herbal medicine splattering across the wooden boards. Chun Hajin! A menacing voice booms from behind him. He whips around, eyes wild with shock. His mind spirals back to a memory, a towering figure cloaked in shadow, hand outstretched, voice dripping with malice. Did you really think you could escape the righteous heavenly alliance? The voice echoes hauntingly. You arrogant fool, I made you the world's best assassin, and you betrayed me. Hajin's eyes widen in disbelief, images flashing in his mind of his former self, his hands drenched in blood, the parasites crawling through his veins. Even if you die, the voice hisses, you will never escape the righteous heavenly alliance. Hajin gasps, his hand instinctively going to his chest. A blood parasite. Again? He shouts, voice cracking with disbelief. His breathing quickens, sweat pouring down his face. Suddenly, a soft voice pierces the fog of his thoughts. Ye young lord? His eyes snap open, the vision dissolving in an instant. He turns, staring back at Anghwa, who stands there, her eyes wide with concern. Are you all right, young lord? She asks timidly. Hajin glances down at the spilled herbal medicine, his chest heaving. An hallucination? He whispers, the weight of realization settling in. Without another word, he hands the bowl back to Anghwa, who takes it with a deep bow. I will head out now, she mutters, shuffling out of the room. Hajin watches her go, his eyes distant, thoughts swirling. His gaze shifts to the window, sunlight streaming through. His voice drops to a whisper. A new life, the one I've always dreamed of. He stares out at the sprawling courtyard, the horizon stretching far beyond the walls. Will I be able to be free? Moments later, the scene shifts to a wash basin, steam gently rising as a washcloth drapes over the edge. Hajin, now finished with his training, dons a black robe with red trimmings, adjusting it neatly over his shoulders. Outside his door, hushed voices whisper. He's in there, right? Someone asks. Hajin's eyes narrow with suspicion. What? Is it some demon cult bastard? He mutters, jaw clenching. I need to announce to the young lord that... The voice is cut off by a loud slap, the sound echoing through the hall. Hajin's gaze sharpens, fists clenching instinctively. Suddenly the doors slide open with a loud crash, revealing two women. His servant, Anhwa, clutches her cheek, eyes welling with tears as a tall, imposing woman with long purple hair and crimson lips steps into the room. The woman's expression is haughty, her gaze sharp as she smirks at Hajin. "It's been a while," she says coolly. Hajin, still adjusting his robe, freezes. His eyes flicker to Anhwa, still trembling by the doorway, and back to the purple-haired woman. Internally, his mind races. Who? Who is she? Her crimson lips curl into a smile, golden hairpins glimmering against her violet locks as she steps confidently forward, eyes locked firmly onto Hajin's. The tension crackles in the air as she stands before him, gaze unwavering. The chapter picks up exactly where we left off, the purple-haired woman striding confidently into Hajin's room, her presence commanding and bold. Behind her, Anhwa, his servant, still clutches her cheek, red from the slap she received earlier. The atmosphere is tense, the room shrouded in silence as Hajin's mind races with questions. Who is she? He ponders, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. The woman strolls forward, her heels tapping lightly against the wooden floor. She muses, her gaze sweeping over him as she passes. A hint of amusement flickers in her eyes. "You look better than I thought," she remarks casually, flicking her hair back behind her ear. Hajin, instinctively clutching his chest, watches her with guarded eyes. He pulls his robe tighter over his body, masking his unease. "What?" "Think, Chun Hajin. Find a way to get out of this situation," he urges himself internally, his mind working at a feverish pace. The woman, still gliding across the room, flicks her wrist gracefully. "Are you going to keep me standing? I want to drink a cup of tea," she says nonchalantly, her voice dripping with entitlement. Hajin's mind stutters for a moment before he snaps back to reality. At times like this, first run, he thinks desperately. Without a second thought, he shouts, "I'm sorry, but I have somewhere I need to be urgently," and bolts for the door. Before he can reach it, her voice rings out, sharp and clear. "Where are you going, third young lord?" she questions. Her fingers snap with precision, and instantly, two towering figures appear before him, blocking his escape. Clad in dark robes, their eyes are black as midnight, their forms massive and imposing. They stand still as statues, gazing down at him with eyes devoid of emotion. Hajin skids to a stop, heart pounding. His eyes flicker between the two guards and the woman still standing behind him. A grin curls on her lips as she walks forward. "I'm going to have a deep conversation with the third lord," she announces smoothly, turning her gaze to the two towering men. "I don't know how long it'll take, so stop all those who approach here." The guards bow their heads deeply. "We will heed your command," they respond in unison, voices low and thunderous. Hajin turns back towards the woman, bewilderment painted across his face. Before he can utter a word, the door slams shut, locking him inside with her. The echo lingers ominously. "Please sit." She gestures to a chair near the window. She's already seated comfortably, legs crossed, hand resting elegantly under her chin. "We have things to talk about, don't we?" Hajin hesitates, his eyes darting from the door to her before clearing his throat. I didn't wipe my sweat while recovering my body. Please wait while I go and change," he stammers, mind racing for an exit strategy. The woman's expression softens into a sly grin. "Okay, I'll wait. However, it'd be great if you don't have any other plans," she adds with a smile that sends chills down his spine. Hajin, sweat dripping from his brow, thinks quickly. "Just by looking at her, I know what she is. I know she's not normal. I have no choice," he decides. Turning back to his servant, he orders, "Anhwa, follow me." Anhwa nods swiftly. "Ah, yes," she responds, scurrying behind him. Within a smaller room, away from prying eyes, Anhwa stands nervously before Hajin. Pardon? You're asking me who that person is?" she stammers, her eyes wide with disbelief. Hajin leans back, arms crossed, his gaze cool and calculating. "You see, after I woke up from the CHI blockage, my head hurts. I think there's a problem with my memory," he lies effortlessly. Anhwa's expression drops, sorrow pooling in her eyes. "Young lord, you can't pass away," she whispers, her voice cracking with emotion. Tears well up as she clutches her chest. The sight baffles Hajin. "Why would I die? It hasn't even been that long since I woke up," he responds bluntly, eyebrow raised. Regaining her composure, Angwa finally speaks. Her name is Hong Yurin, she explains. She's affiliated with the Religious Internal Alignment Facility. She's the daughter of the Juksa family within the demon cult. Strong enough to be called the most talented disciple, she is respected by the demonic cult chief. As she speaks, a visual of Hong Yurin appears, clad in flowing robes, her purple hair surrounded by a faint, ethereal purple aura. Hajin raises a brow, his hand touching his chin thoughtfully. And she's the fourth young lord's youngest sister? He questions. Angwa nods. Yes, but why did she come looking for me? What's our relationship? Hajin inquires further. Angwa hesitates. I don't know the details, she admits, but both of you have met numerous times within a month. Hajin's eyes narrow, arms folding across his chest. That means our relationship isn't just average, he deduces. He takes a step back, scanning Angwa's face. Thank you for letting me know. Is your face okay? It looks very swollen. Go rest, he says gently. Angwa's eyes widen with shock, her hand subconsciously touching her cheek. Yes, she mutters, bowing respectfully. As she steps back, her gaze lingers on him, mind swirling with disbelief. Young lord, is this really you, she wonders, remembering the cruel words of the past? Hajin straightens up, strolling back to the room where Hong Yurin now waits. She's seated comfortably, legs crossed, her gaze steady and sharp. Hajin bows politely, his expression calm. I was thoughtless, so I was rude, he says courteously. Yurin's brow lifts slightly, a curious expression on her face. It's all right, she responds, though her tone is laced with suspicion. Hajin doesn't waste time. What brings you here? He asks smoothly, a soft smile playing on his lips. Her eyes flicker with surprise. What's with this mild attitude? It's different from the third young lord I once knew. It's like you've lost the brightness in your eyes, she muses, a flashback of his former self raging and screaming crossing her mind. So it's true that you lost your martial prowess after the chi blockage, she thinks inwardly. Without hesitation, she reaches into her satchel and produces a contract, laying it on the table with a sharp slap. This is a contract that has both of our seals on it. You remember, right? Hajin's eyes narrow as he stares at the document. Contracts, he thinks, suspicion gnawing at his mind. Yurin's eyes gleam with satisfaction. If one of us breaks the contract, or if a situation arises where it must be invalidated, she slams the contract down forcefully, the penalty will be tripled. Her gaze sharpens. The total is 6,000 yen. Pay me back now or write up a new contract. Hajin stares intently at the contract in his hand, his expression unreadable. Yet behind his eyes, thoughts whirl like a storm. Using the excuse of Seoryang's chai blockage, she made herself the victim, nullified the contract, and now wants to take back her money, he reflects. I wanted to build my reputation and increase my wealth, but she's going to ignore the fact that I was bedridden, he scoffs inwardly. This youngster is doing things she shouldn't be doing, he mutters in his mind, irritation bubbling beneath his calm facade. Finally, Hajin speaks up, his voice even and controlled. Well, all right, he says aloud, surprising the purple-haired woman with his compliance. I can spend that much money this easily, he continues confidently. Her eyes narrow with suspicion, but before she can respond, Hajin turns his head towards the adjacent room. Angwa, prepare the brushes, paper, and ink, he calls out firmly. Yes, young lord, Angwa responds obediently, her voice echoing back from the hall. Hajin's thoughts whirl as he waits, his eyes still locked on the contract. It doesn't matter if she's doing something bad. It has nothing to do with me. First, I should do what she wants, since I'm going to be leaving this place anyway, he reasons. He picks up the brush, ready to sign the freshly drawn up contract. Opposite him, the purple-haired woman sits casually, legs crossed, her eyes observing him with an almost predatory interest. Her hands are neatly folded, a small smile playing on her lips. She watches in silence, her mind churning with thoughts. For someone who's the third young lord, to recklessly write a contract. He wasn't smart to begin with, but isn't this a bit too reckless? She muses inwardly, lips curling with amusement. Breaking the silence, she chimes up, her voice lilting with false innocence. Ah, one more thing. she says, drawing Hajin's attention. He glances up, pausing his writing. If you can't pay me back, she continues, her eyes narrowing with delight, you'll have to come when I call for you, like a loyal dog. Her words hang heavy in the room, dripping with condescension. Hajin's eyes harden, his grip on the brush tightening slightly. She's going to treat this body like a dog? This child is getting on my nerves. He seethes internally, but outwardly his expression remains calm. Is that all? Hajin asks coolly, completing his signature with a final stroke. The purple-haired woman rises gracefully from her seat, strolling confidently towards him as he stands there, the contract still in his hand. The contract will end when I receive all the money, she declares, her voice lilting with satisfaction. Until then, we should respect each other since we're both contractors, right? She smirks, casting him a playful glance. Hajin's eyes flicker toward her, the edges of his lips curling into a smirk. Respect, huh? He echoes, his tone dripping with sarcasm. You want me to be respectful while handing over this kind of contract? He scoffs. Her confidence falters for a moment, her eyes blinking in confusion. What? She stammers, her previous arrogance slipping. Hajin, now folding the contract, turns towards the adjacent hallway. Angwa, go out and bring the commander of the royal guards, he commands. Yes, young lord, Angwa responds swiftly, bowing her head before rushing out. A bead of sweat trickles down the purple-haired woman's cheek. Her eyes dart nervously. Well, why are you suddenly calling the commander? She stammers, her voice shaking slightly. Moments later, the door slides open smoothly, and the commander of the royal guard strides in, bowing deeply, his fists pressed to his chest. The divine cult is undefeated. I bow to you. I greet the third young lord, he declares with reverence. Why did you call for me so urgently? Hajin, standing calmly before the purple-haired woman, turns slightly to the commander. Prepare a carriage. I have somewhere I need to go, he says firmly. The commander straightens slightly, confusion evident on his face. Third young lord, I know it isn't my place to speak, but the current state of your body is... Before he can finish, Hajin cuts him off sharply. I'm going to the demon lord, he shouts, his voice unwavering. Prepare a carriage and send word to the demon lord's palace. Say that the third disciple wishes to see the master. The purple-haired woman's eyes go wide, realization dawning upon her face. Panic flares in her eyes. The commander bows low. I understand. I will send word to the demon lord's palace. When permission is granted, I will prepare the carriage. Third young lord, she cries out, voice shaking. Hajin turns back to her, his expression nonchalant. What are you doing? I should also fight back. Let's go see if this contract is fair for the demon lord, he smirks, his tone dripping with mockery. Her face drains of color. Third young master, are you saying we should die together right now? Just what do you want to hear from the demon lord? She shouts, fear evident in her trembling voice. Hajin folds his arms casually, the contract still held firmly in his grip. Is there a problem? He asks with a mocking smile. She stumbles back, her hands trembling. If the demon lord knows you made a contract with me, you won't be safe either, she screams, desperation seeping into her tone. Hajin shrugs, his expression indifferent. You're right. If he knows about this, I'll also be scolded. I might even be exiled since I lost my martial prowess. But that's just what will happen to me. His eyes narrow, locking onto hers. But what about you? Everyone in the world knows your family is amazing, but that excuse only works in some cases. The worst case scenario for me is exile. But for you, you won't be excused from imprisonment for the sin of raising their daughter poorly. The Juksa family will, of course, be stripped of everything. Her face blanches, beads of sweat forming as the reality of his words sets in. Her mind floods with images of her family home engulfed in flames, their wealth and status obliterated. Words catch in her throat, too stunned to speak. Hajin turns sharply, heading toward the door with the contract still clenched in his hand. I'll be going now. It's time for my walk, he calls back coolly. Wait, she shouts, raising a trembling hand. Hajin stops, glancing back over his shoulder, eyes calm and collected. Do you not want to become the supreme leader? She asks, desperation coloring her voice. He chuckles dryly. Supreme leader? With this body? How ridiculous, he replies, moving closer to the door. Didn't you come here knowing I have no chance? Her voice cracks. What do I need to do? She shouts. Hajin raises an eyebrow, his hand on the doorframe. What are you talking about? He asks casually. She lowers her head, sweat dripping from her brow, voice trembling. So that you don't go to the Demon Lord. What do I have to do? She whispers. Without missing a beat, Hajin extends the contract in front of her, his hand unwavering. Rip this contract with your own hands, he says firmly, his voice echoing in the stillness of the room. A voice echoes in the darkness. Hajin, aren't you tired of this life? A pause. I'm going to leave. Down to the rural regions where the air smells of greenery, not blood. The voice fades, swallowed by silence. We open on a harrowing scene. 6 men stand beneath the moonlight, their shadows cast over the lifeless bodies of a mother and child. Hajin stares at them blankly, his expression empty. This is a younger Hajin, his scar fresh across the bridge of his nose. Is that all of them? One man asks. Another replies, Yes. We searched every nook and cranny. Not even an ant was left behind. Hajin's gaze doesn't move. They betrayed the alliance. Treason cannot go unpunished. Search the nearby population. Yes, sir, the men answer in unison. As Hajin turns away, something catches his eye. In the small hand of the dead boy, a carved wooden bird. He kneels down, lays his sword gently on the ground, and carefully opens the child's fingers. The bird rests there, simple, but somehow familiar. His eyes widen, his lips part. A single bead of sweat trickles down his face. Recognition hits him. Move aside, a voice thunders from a distance. Hajin spins around, but too late. One of his men is smashed through the wall, his corpse crumpled, blade beside him. A blue-haired warrior, his former comrade, bursts into the scene like a storm. His blade gleams as he cuts down 2 men in a single swing. Blood splashes across the courtyard. Eyes burning with fury, he leaps at Hajin. The ground shatters under his feet. With one slash, he splits Hajin's sword and slashes his face. Swooping past, he scoops up the mother and child, landing behind Hajin. Hajin stumbles, blood and sweat running freely down his face, turning back to see his friend cradling the 2 corpses, sobbing. Hajin steps forward, dropping what remains of his weapon. Wait, listen to me. Rain begins to fall, washing blood down his cheeks. They said it was treason, that they betrayed the alliance. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know. His friend kneels silently, the bodies of his family limp in his arms, rain cascading down like heaven's judgment. Is killing people just a job to you? The man roars in anguish. Do you even know what life is? A brief flash, we see the boy, once happy, riding on a horse, alive. To commit murder every day. His friend coughs blood, a parasite slithering from his mouth as Hajin clutches his trembling body. Assassins like you know nothing. He clings to Hajin's robe. I'll curse you, even from the afterlife. Rain mixes with blood. Hajin says nothing, only silence and shame. Your life will become the death of all you've slain. Flash to the present. Hajin, now the 3rd young lord, snaps out of his memory. The scene transitions to the Grand Demon Faction Palace, its dark majesty towering in the pale light. A carriage crosses the bridge slowly, headed toward the demon sect. Inside the palace, a warm glow from orange lamps lights up a room. Strands of hair fall gently to the floor. A man, clad in regal stillness, receives a haircut from a maid dressed in yellow. 2 more servants assist him with his robes. His long hair cascades down like midnight silk. Another man stands at the room's edge, bowing deeply. Congratulations on your great deed, Demon Lord, the man says, face illuminated by the flickering lamps. It is the 1st Royal Guard. The Demon Lord, his face still shrouded in shadow, reaches calmly for a wine flask, pours a drink, and brings it to his lips. You said the 3rd requested to see me? His tone is calm, controlled. Yes, my lord, the Royal Guard responds from outside the door. I've sent the carriage. He should arrive shortly. The Demon Lord sets down the saucer and clasps his hands behind his back. 1st Royal Guard. Yes, my lord? He pours another cup of wine. Still bowed, the guard awaits his master's order. Escort him. A pause. To the Demonic Judgment Pavilion. The guard flinches. His head lifts slightly, eyes widen. The Demonic Judgment Pavilion? The demon lord says nothing. He simply continues pouring wine. The royal guard says no more. He cups his fist to his palm and bows again. I have received your orders. He turns and walks away, leaving behind the room and the silent, yawning demon lord who now stretches and asks, "Is it winter yet?" Fade out. The scene shifts. Snowflakes tumble softly onto the bare branches of the courtyard trees. Winter has come. Inside Hajin's residence, the silence is broken only by the quiet rustle of robes and the faint sound of a pulse being taken. The physician clasps Hajin's wrist gently, fingers cold and clinical. Ah, cold, Hajin thinks to himself, shivering at the man's touch. I still can't get used to the chaotic aura that flows through me when he reads my pulse. The physician finally lets go. Hajin sits upright on the bed, body slightly trembling. Brr, cold, he mutters. The physician nods, voice calm and steady. Your damaged veins have shown remarkable recovery over the past few days. Not just the veins. Despite relying on herbs and acupuncture, your regenerative ability is truly astonishing. He looks at Hajin, then freezes. His eyes widen, sweat forming at his brow. Hajin raises an eyebrow. What's with that look, he wonders silently. Realizing his stare, the physician quickly bows low. Forgive me, young lord. I was simply shocked by your recovery. But beneath that deep bow, his lips curl into a sly, amused grin. Hajin rises from the bed, pulling on his robes, ignoring the expression. The physician continues, There is no longer a need for acupuncture. From here on, we'll focus on strength recovery using nutrient-dense meals and the supreme healing potion. Mid-dress, Hajin turns slowly toward him. Supreme healing potion? His voice is laced with suspicion. Never heard of it. The physician blinks, caught off guard. Cut to a steaming white bowl, herbs floating in a golden broth. It's a decoction made from the finest herbs, meant to restore energy, he explains, voice now more cautious. Crafted by house artisans and reserved only for the highest-ranking members of the main sanctuary. Hajin places his hands behind his back. I see. Internally, his thoughts sharpen. Aids in recovering energy, huh? Whatever it's called, it's just medicine. He side-eyes the physician. If it actually worked, I would have been back to full strength by now. The physician bows again. I'll return in 2 days. May your recovery be swift, young lord. Hajin watches him leave, still skeptical. Maybe it's my senses, or maybe he's just full of crap, he thinks, shrugging. Outside, the gloomy winter sky stretches over the desolate courtyard. The wind whistles softly as Hajin yawns and mutters, What a dank neighborhood. He approaches the window. Snowflakes drift past his gaze as he stares out. The demon lord. I guess I'm finally meeting him. His monologue begins. I wonder, what kind of man is he? There's no one in Kangho Murim who isn't curious about the heavenly demon. It's obvious he could be the strongest person under the sky. He's never revealed his full power. And yet he's still considered one of the world's most dangerous men. His gaze drops to the table. The torn contract lies there, shredded memory of the girl from before. Her voice echoes in his mind. I was to be ruled by a person of great importance within the holy demon cult. But I couldn't stand to be reborn just to become someone else's dog. Hajin grits his teeth, fury rising again. He clutches his hair, pacing in frustration. Damn it, if only that Hong Yoren, daughter of the Joksa family or whatever, hadn't shoved that ridiculous contract in my face. His rant is interrupted. Young lord, a soft voice cuts through the room. He turns. A servant girl stands at the doorway, head bowed, eyes closed. The demon god's palace has contacted us. Your carriage is ready. Her tone is polite, respectful. Hajin steadies himself, eyes sharp with resolve. Well, since it's come to this, I might as well face him head on. He steps toward the double doors. His fingers curl around the bronze handles. With a swift pull, he throws them open. The cold winter sun spills across his face, and he stands there ready. The chariot creaks along a winding road, flanked by towering cliffs and dense fog. We fade in as it rolls to a stop at the foot of the Demon Lord's palace. 2 black-cloaked guards move to the back of the carriage and unlatch its doors. Out steps the young lord, our protagonist Hajin, his robe still tattered, the grime of his recent days clinging to his skin. A guard kneels before him, arms outstretched in respect. "The Demon Lord has summoned you to the Demonic Judgment Pavilion," the man declares. "Please proceed with your guide." Hajin narrows his gaze, stepping forward. Before him looms a mountain staircase that seems to stretch to the heavens. Towering peaks rise around it, sharp, jagged, oppressive. He squints upward. Sweat forms on his brow. What the hell is the Demonic Judgment Pavilion? He wonders silently. At the very summit, nestled like a solitary bird's nest, rests a tiny wooden structure. It's simple, almost modest, but impossibly distant. Inside the pavilion, we see the Demon Lord, cloaked in shadow, seated in silence. A single beam of sunlight casts a faint glow over the dragon-etched saucer in his hand. He raises it slowly to his lips. The alcohol tastes sweeter today," he murmurs. Cut 2. Hajin's boots scrape the ancient stone steps. Behind a silent servant, he trudges upward, one step at a time, with the mountain watching. His thoughts churn. This truly is the heart of the demon cult, he thinks, glancing to his sides. Darkness slithers in the corners of his vision. He can feel it. Eyes. Dozens. Hundreds. All watching. So many guards. High-level masters in every shadow. He catches faint movements in the trees, subtle glimmers of glowing irises in the stone walls, masked figures cloaked in silence. It's like when I was trapped in the inescapable formation of the righteous heavenly alliance in the Steel-Blood Fortress. More eyes, more pressure. This place, it's a dragon's pool, a tiger's den. One wrong step, and I die. They finally reach the summit. Before them stands an iron door etched with the emblem of a roaring dragon. The servant speaks softly. "We are here." Hajin glances at the door, confused. Isn't this supposed to be a pavilion, he thinks? This looks more like a fortress gate. The doors begin to groan open, metal grinding against stone. No. Stay calm, Hajin tells himself. Act like you belong here. A CT like you know everything. With great effort, the servant heaves open the final door. From within, a calm voice echoes, "Please enter." Hajin steps forward into shadow. Every move I make now could mean life or death. A light flares from within. As his eyes adjust, his jaw drops. He stumbles. What? The space beyond the door is not a hall of judgment. It's a garden of spring. Cherry blossoms dance on the wind. Rolling hills of emerald green stretch under a sky of clear blue. Streams glisten. Birds sing. A deer drinks quietly from a crystal brook. Hajin stares, stunned. But it's winter outside. A soft petal lands on his shoulder. A rabbit hops near his feet, unbothered. He rubs his eyes. Am I dreaming? He watches a flock of birds flutter across a cherry tree, its flowers in full bloom. He glances up. Sunlight spills from a sky that should not exist. Then it clicks. An illusionary formation. Of course, that's the only way this makes sense. Still, he can't help but marvel as he walks the riverside path. Trees swaying, flowers blooming, the wind warm and gentle. Whatever this is, it's no ordinary illusion. As Hajin wanders deeper into the enchanted landscape, a rare smile creeps onto his face. He imagines himself sprawled in the tall grass, rabbits nestled around him, a straw in his mouth, gazing up at the cherry blossoms drifting through the air. This is exactly the place I always dreamed of retiring to, he whispers to himself. Far away from the Congo, far from the chaos, surrounded by greenery. His hand reaches toward a cherry blossom tree, petals cascading around him like snow. As his fingers brush the fragile bloom, he murmurs, "What an astonishing illusionary technique." Suddenly, a voice pierces the tranquility. "This way," it calls, gentle yet commanding. Startled, Hajin jolts and shouts, spinning toward the voice. Ah! You scared me. In the distance, half concealed by trees and flowers, stands a pavilion. Simple, elegant, and definitely not there before. Hajin stares, eyes wide. At the top of its stone steps stands a figure, back turned, a black robe embroidered with golden dragons flowing in the breeze. The man is motionless, the robe unmistakable. That pavilion. Wasn't there a moment ago, Hajin thinks. His chest tightens. Someone's there. Cherry blossoms swirl. The wind grows stronger. Hajin's feet begin to move, not of his own will. With each step forward, flowers bloom underfoot, only to wither and die as he passes. My feet, they're moving on their own, he realizes. It's like I'm being bewitched. As he approaches, the mysterious man, once standing, now sits within the pavilion, calmly pouring himself a cup of wine from a dragon-laced flask. The camera lingers on the grass beneath Hajin's feet, vibrant, then decayed, a haunting trail of life and death behind him. From within the pavilion, the man, the demon lord, raises his cup to his lips. With the first step there is life. With the second, death. He smirks. Interesting. Still, his face remains hidden. The camera widens. We see Hajin and the demon lord at opposite ends of the frame, the pavilion perched atop a jagged cliff, the vast horizon stretching behind it. The demon lord thinks to himself, so this is the Demonic Judgment Pavilion, as imagined by the third. Hajin draws nearer, his eyes scanning the elegant woodwork and smooth stone of the pavilion. This place feels wrong, he thinks. My instincts as the Assassin King are screaming. Sweat runs down his face. His fist tightens. He stares at the stone steps leading upward. But it's too late to turn back. He places one foot on the first step, it trembles. If I ever want to escape the demon cult, if I want a new life, he climbs, step by step. With every rise, his thoughts churn. Am I truly about to meet the demon god? At last, he reaches the top. His eyes lift. He sees the feet of the man seated within. The ninth person summoned by the heavenly demon, the great ninth heavenly demon, Lee Cheon-sang. The demon lord, Lee Cheon-sang, sits in regal silence, hair like obsidian silk cascading down his back, his black robe embroidered with golden dragons rippling in the soft wind. He lifts his dragon-emblazoned wine cup, then finally turns to cast a glance at the intruder. Hajin, now face to face with the man who commands the cult, stands rooted to the spot. His expression is calm, but his brow betrays him, dripping with sweat. His fate now lies in the eyes of the demon lord. The scene shifts, back to the great iron doors, the ones adorned with the face of a dragon, towering at the entrance of the hidden realm. Silence hangs in the air. Two figures stand before the doors. The royal guard, unmoving, his arms crossed behind his back, and the servant who had led Hajin up the mountain. A question breaks the quiet. Has the third lord entered? The royal guard asks flatly. The servant responds, Yes, sir, he has. They stand there, still, silent. Seconds pass. The servant fidgets, sensing unease. Is something bothering you? He asks softly. No answer. The royal guard's gaze remains fixed on the doors, his eyes like stone. The servant shifts awkwardly, then bows his head. Forgive me, I misspoke. The camera pans out, revealing jagged peaks piercing the sky, mountains sharp like blades under the gray heavens. And then, the royal guard finally speaks. Under the demon lord's reign, there have only been 2 instances when an outsider was summoned into the Demonic Judgment Pavilion. His voice is grim. The first was 25 years ago. The servant's head tilts, confused. 25 years? Do you mean the first young lord? The royal guard shakes his head. Number, the first young lord became the demon lord's disciple 20 years ago. A beat. The servant stares, eyes wide. Then there was another disciple before him? That's right. The royal guard doesn't flinch. But that disciple died inside the pavilion. The servant stumbles backward in shock. The royal guard's voice turns colder. When we found him, his skin had been torn to shreds, like wild beasts had ravaged his body. The scene cuts briefly. flashes of a blood-soaked floor, a torn, motionless corpse, face frozen in fear and pain. The servant gulps, trying to ask, "Then, the demon lord, he—" The royal guard cuts in. If the Lord had wanted him dead, he wouldn't have brought him into the pavilion. That statement lingers, cryptic and terrifying. The focus returns to the dragon-faced doors, unmoved, unreadable. Then another question, whispered by the servant. "Then who was the second person to enter?" A pause. The royal guard finally answers. "The general strategist." Cut to a man in pristine white robes, papers in one hand, a calculating gleam in his glasses. His hair is tied back neatly, posture upright, dignified. He stands before a grand palace, surrounded by others wearing robes branded with the demon cult's sigil. He is the man who rose, not through fists or swords, but through wit and strategy. The only man, the royal guard says, who climbed to power not through martial strength, but with his mind. The camera lingers on the strategist, surrounded by advisors and warriors alike, his calm authority commanding the entire sect. Back at the steps, the servant's eyes widen even more, sweat now dripping freely down his face. He tries to form words. "Did he—" The royal guard finishes for him. "Yes, he walked out with his head held high." The camera closes in on the royal guard's furrowed brow as he stares back at the motionless doors. "And now the pavilion opens its gates for the third time." A pause. His voice drops, barely audible, laced with dread. "Will the third young lord return alive?" Cut to inside the pavilion. Hajin, the third young lord, stands bowed deeply, sweat trailing down his cheek. Across from him, seated calmly, is the demon lord, Lee Cheonsang, his hand wrapped around a bottle of wine, his gaze piercing. He says nothing, but that silence weighs more than 1,000 words. And his eyes? They say it all. The scene opens on the serene beauty of the Demonic Judgment Pavilion, nestled amidst a sea of lush greenery and ancient blossom trees swaying in the breeze. Suddenly, a chant echoes through the air like a sacred decree. The divine teachings are unquestionable. "All demons prostrate before you." We see Hajin, fists pressed tightly together in a martial salute, head bowed low before the demon lord. Beads of sweat trail down his brow as he whispers, "Demon lord." Then, "Rise." The demon lord's voice cuts through the silence like thunder. Hajin slowly lifts his head. His eyes meet the gaze of Lee Cheonsang, the demon lord. His heart pounds. His mind races. So this is the demon lord, he thinks. Lee Cheonsang, he's different. Far different. Even as he stands still, the sheer aura of the man is suffocating. Not a trace of chi is released, and yet it feels as though the heavens themselves weigh down on Hajin's shoulders. His inner monologue continues, rapid and awed. He's the grand demonic monster, master, ruler of all. There's no reason he should be confined to being one of the 10 strongest. He transcends it. We cut to Hajin's vision, a flickering image of the demon lord draped in a great fur cloak seated upon a majestic black throne. Jagged rocks rise in the distance behind him like the fangs of the earth. He's not a man, he's a myth, a martial god who dwells in another dimension. Why didn't someone like him ever become a tyrant? Hajin's thoughts spiral. Panic flashes across his face. "Ah, what am I doing? I'm scared just standing here." He slaps his own cheeks, once, twice, again and again. Slap, 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 slap. Get it together, true Hajin. Where's your pride as one of the 10 strongest? In front of him, the demon lord calmly pours wine from a sleek black bottle into an elegant bowl. Not a word is exchanged, just silence. Then Lee Cheonsang extends the bowl toward Hajin. "Take this." Hajin bows, accepting the offering with trembling hands. Thank you," he stammers. The moment he brings it to his lips, he's struck by the fragrance. This wine is divine. When was the last time I tasted something so luxurious? Without hesitation, he downs it in a single gulp. Ah, that hits the spot. Then, "You requested to see me?" The demon lord's voice, cold and razor sharp, cuts through the air. Hajin chokes, still holding the bowl near his mouth. He turns toward the Demon Lord, caught off guard. Yes. The Demon Lord calmly accepts the bowl back, eyes narrowing slightly. And the reason? Hajin gulps, coughing slightly, regaining composure. He mutters to himself, "Why are masters in this world always so damn harsh?" Then as he stares into the Demon Lord's piercing gaze, a realization hits. No use beating around the bush. He's not the type. I'll just get straight to it. He takes a breath, raises his head. "I have a request." "A request?" the Demon Lord repeats, tilting his wine bowl in hand. "What would that be?" Hajin's voice quivers. "Well, you see, He hesitates, sweat now pouring. "What the hell are you doing, True Hajin? You were one of the 10 strongest. And now you're standing here like a scared child?" He forces the words out. "Would it be all right if I left the cult?" Silence. Inside, Hajin's mind explodes in full panic mode. "No, you idiot. That's not what you were supposed to say. You were going to ask to leave temporarily for some fresh air." The Demon Lord says nothing, just takes a sip of his wine. Then he lowers the bowl, his eyes open. "You want to leave the cult?" His tone is unreadable. Hajin gulps. "Yes." He stares, frozen, waiting. Did that actually work? He can't tell. The Demon Lord's face is a mask. Then, pull. The Demon Lord raises his hand, motioning. Yes, my lord." Hajin responds automatically, still panicking internally. What the hell does that mean? Why can't I read his face? Hajin lifts the obsidian wine bottle with trembling hands and begins to pour its dark contents into the Demon Lord's bowl. The liquid trickles in a delicate stream, but his fingers, they won't stop shaking. I can't read him. Not at all, Hajin thinks, his face pale. As the wine flows, Lee Cheon-sang finally speaks, his tone smooth, but cutting. You've been quite vague. The Demon Lord's icy blue eyes slowly lift toward Hajin. Are you asking to go out for a while? He begins. Then his voice sharpens. Or are you saying you want to cut ties with the cult? The words land like a thunderclap. Hajin's eyes snap open, wide. Sweat floods down his face. His mouth opens. Nothing comes out. Then, do you not like being my disciple? The Demon Lord's voice is calm, but the meaning slices deep. Panic. Pure panic. Hajin shoots his hands into the air, waving frantically. No, that's not it at all, he blurts, voice breaking. Lee Cheon-sang slowly raises the wine bowl to his lips and sips, unfazed. Oh? Have you already given up because your body is exhausted? He places the cup down gently. His aura shifts. The temperature in the room drops. His gaze sharpens. His presence darkens. Is that the extent of your abilities? Those words send lightning through Hajin's chest. Let me speak, Hajin screams in his mind, heart hammering. But the Demon Lord narrows his eyes. What? A disappointment. Shit, I'm screwed. Hajin panics, his thoughts unraveling. He throws caution to the wind. I'm not trying to cut ties, he exclaims. I've only just recovered and I've lost my martial strength. I thought maybe some fresh air would help. Just a bit of time away to clear my head. Still seated, Lee Cheon-sang's eyes remain fixed on the wine bowl, not once glancing up. Hajin gulps. That's what I came here to request today, he says, trying to smile through the dread. Yes, that's it. Totally believable. Right? Crack. The wine bowl smashes onto the table. Wine splashes into the air. Hajin jolts. His body stutters backward as his brain screams. Should I make up an excuse? Is it too late? The Demon Lord cuts through the silence with a growl. You requested to see me? Just to get permission for an outing? The weight of those words crushes Hajin. He lowers his head, ashamed, teeth clenched, eyes locked on the floor. Across from him, the Demon Lord calmly pours himself another drink. The silence is unbearable. Hajin's lips part to speak, but nothing comes. His mind races. I was too careless. The reason I requested to see the ruler of all, the Demon Lord, was for an outing? It sounds even more absurd when he hears it in his head. The demon lord raises his cup. So? He asks, tilting it slightly. That single word sends a tremor down Hajin's spine. He nearly collapses under the pressure. This isn't the time to think about anything else, he screams internally. Chun Hajin, think. He draws in a breath, summoning what little courage remains. I wanted to see you, he says. It's been a while, master. The demon lord finally turns his gaze toward Hajin. His expression, unreadable. His silence, deafening. That wasn't a bad reaction, Hajin thinks. I might still have a chance. The demon lord sips his wine, calm once more. Hajin takes a leap, raising his clenched palm toward his chest. Even though my body's in this state, there are duties a disciple must still uphold. He lowers his eyes, voice growing sincere. I can't repay even 100th of the kindness you've given me. And yet I haven't even thanked you. He pauses. Then, let's play the sentiment card. Chun Hajin, make him feel something. The demon lord silently raises his wine cup toward Hajin, and then, in a moment that defies reality, the cup begins to crumble, flaking apart into glimmering dust, disintegrating in midair. Hajin stiffens, eyes wide, sweat trailing down his brow. The drinking bowl turned to dust? The demon lord's gaze cuts through him like a blade. Did you say duties of a disciple? His voice is calm, deadly. Pardon? Hajin stammers, completely thrown off. The demon lord rises from his seat, his towering form casting a long shadow over the pavilion. Hajin's heart hammers. He gulps. He's huge. Now the two stand across from each other, the low table between them barely offering separation. The air is thick, charged with a power that makes Hajin's knees weak. The demon lord's eyes begin to glow, an ominous, piercing blue. If you truly knew your duties, he says, you wouldn't have shown up before me. With that body. His words land heavy. Have I misjudged you all this time? Hajin's blood runs cold. That body, he thinks, chest tightening. Wait, does he know that I'm not Suryong? The demon lord's stare burns into him. It's as if he's peering straight into Hajin's soul. In his mind's eye, Hajin finds himself standing in a dark void, before the same menacing blue eyes that glow like stars of judgment. What excuse can I even use now, he wonders, hair billowing in his internal windstorm. Suddenly, the demon lord turns away. He didn't call me out? Hajin blinks in disbelief. But rather than relief, something unexpected fills his chest. Irritation. You're saying the disciple who overcame chi blockage came here to pay his respects and I don't know my duties? Seriously? Am I the weird one here? The demon lord now stands at the edge of the pavilion, overlooking the vast, majestic landscape below. The demon cult, nestled among ancient mountains, sprawls like a hidden kingdom. He places one hand gently on the pavilion's wooden pillar, eyes on the horizon. Without turning fully, he speaks. I will send someone within 3 days. You may go now. Huh? Hajin is stunned. Eyes wide, jaw dropped. That's it? But what about the outing? Am I allowed to go or not? His thoughts spiral into a whirlwind. Just say something clear. The camera pans out, revealing the full beauty of the Demonic Judgment Pavilion resting atop the jagged cliffs. The skies are blue, the valleys lush. The demon lord stands alone, his voice low and reflective. It's been a long time since I've looked upon this sight. Scene change. Evening falls. A pale moon rises over the demon palace, casting silver light across its rooftops. Stars dot the sky like ancient watchers. Inside Dash. A wine bottle tilts, pouring into a cup once again. The demon lord sits alone at a low table, his expression unreadable. This is a reward for your hard work. The recipient? The royal guard, kneeling, head bowed, shocked, grateful, silent. I am honored, he whispers, voice trembling. The demon lord rises and steps away, leaving the cup behind. The royal guard lifts it to his lips and drinks, still kneeling. Behind him, the demon lord approaches a cage beside the table. He peers inside. What's going on with the dirt? He asks, voice casual but sharp. The royal guard stiffens, then replies, He's been recovering at home. The demon lord doesn't move. Is that all? Yes, that's all. Still staring inside the cage, the demon lord gently pets a creature within, his baby dragon. Its eyes glow faintly. He seems pretty good, he mutters. Then his thoughts drift. He sees Hajin, glowing red eyes, an intense aura radiating from him. And then, another vision. A radiant Hajin, bathed in sunlight. 10 years ago, I picked him up thinking he was an emoji, and was disappointed to find a venomous snake, he chuckles softly. But today, he had a magic pearl in his mouth. The memory plays again, Hajin walking toward the pavilion, unsure but determined. The demon lord's voice echoes in the silence. He's walking further from evil and inching closer to understanding death. Behind him, the royal guard trembles at the weight of those words, but remains silent. The camera tilts down from the moonlit sky, revealing the towering pavilion perched on the mountain's edge. We hear the demon lord's voice begin to echo, smooth, cold, omniscient. The Demonic Judgment Pavilion. A soft breeze rustles through the wooden beams. His voice continues, a place where evil is judged. We shift to a shadowy sequence. A prisoner shackled by ethereal vines. Those brought forth are judged by my will, by the power of the demonic formation. Monstrous shapes slither out of the fog, some grotesque like demons, others feral like wolves, circling the restrained figure. It reveals the true heart of the object, both their conscious state and their hidden intent. We watch the creatures close in. The shackled figure begins to tremble. Then, rip. They strike. If they harbor even a hint of killing intent, they will be destroyed. Blood splashes across stone. Screams are muffled by the growls of judgment. Suddenly, a new scene. Hajin. He stands calmly within the pavilion, surrounded by blooming flowers. The petals drift like snow. A formation of the highest order, one only I can cast. The demon lord's voice fades, and we return to his chamber. He stands before his pet's cage, bathed in pale torchlight. Is the solitary bamboo grove still being tended to? The royal guard, still kneeling, replies, yes, the court of elders has personnel assigned every other day. The demon lord holds a small red box, opens it. A single wriggling worm lies within. The royal guard continues, there are 5 casualties a month, but no deaths recently. The demon lord speaks again, calm and deliberate. Good. Have the elders withdraw their personnel. I'll be sending the 3rd lord. The royal guard flinches, his head pressed to the floor in total shock. The demon lord's pet slithers at the edge of its cage, eyeing the treat. He casually drops the rat into the cage. The whack. Fangs sink in, bones crunch, blood spatters. The demon lord slowly walks to his throne and sits, head resting on his fist. He watches the cage. To the solitary bamboo grove, he murmurs again. His words carry a twisted satisfaction. We transition to a dark bamboo forest. An eye peers through the thick stalks. Then another, then more. One by one, glowing eyes emerge in the shadows. Creatures unseen and waiting. Herc! A 2-headed lizard suddenly drops onto a figure's shoulder. It's Hajin. The lizard scurries across his robe. His jaw clenches. Sweat drips down his cheek. He fights the urge to scream. Demon Lord, you perverse bastard, he growls in his mind. We see towering bamboo reaching up like spears to the sky. The wind whistles. The ground is littered with damp leaves. I asked for an outing. And you sent me here? To the middle of nowhere? Hajin clutches his fists, his entire body trembling with frustration. What the hell did I do to deserve this? The camera pans up. The bamboo forest stretches endlessly, and in the middle of it all, one tiny figure, utterly alone. Demon Lord! You asshole! His roar pierces the stillness. But there's no response. Only the rustling bamboo and the hungry eyes watching from the dark. The chapter opens on a wide shot of the bamboo forest, serene in its endless sprawl. Birds flap wildly through the trees. A voice pierces the stillness. "Demon Lord, you asshole!" Hajin's scream echoes, swallowed by the sea of green. "Asshole! Asshole! Asshole!" He stomps the ground in rage, tears streaking his cheeks as his fists tremble at his sides. How is this the perfect place to get fresh air? Bastard! Asshole! Pity! Shit! Each word hurled with increasing fury. Then, a calm voice behind him. "Pardon my impudence, but that's quite a dangerous remark, young lord." Hajin spins around, eyes wide, breath ragged. "Hey, what did you just say?" A yellow-haired man in a dark robe with red trimmings stands casually. "Any foul or abusive language toward the Demon Lord is an offense punishable by immediate death," the man says, unflinching. The two stare each other down. Hajin, still seething, calms slightly as he studies the stranger. The yellow-haired man continues. "There are no exceptions, not even for young lords and ladies." They both wear massive travel packs. Two silhouettes swallowed in the shadows of towering bamboo. Hajin finally responds, deadpan, "You should have listened more carefully. I wasn't bad-mouthing the Demon Lord." The man suddenly shouts, "Is that so? Sorry for misunderstanding." His face completely serious despite the volume. Hajin glares, his mind cursing. God damn it, is this guy royalty or something? Why can't I talk shit behind his back like a normal person? He studies the man's small, intense eyes. No, to these demon cult bastards, he isn't just royalty. He's a god. The camera zooms out, revealing the two still standing in the forest. A modest estate sits in the distance. "So you're from the Court of Elders?" Hajin asks. "Yes, that's correct." The yellow-haired man bows respectfully, clasping his fist to palm, then lowering his head. With a sudden stomp, he bows again, voice proud. "Your servant, Ma Dongpil, third leader of the heavenly demon divine cult's Court of Elders. It is a great honor to serve as your personal guard." Text appears on screen. Ma Dongpil, third leader, Court of Elders. Hajin side-eyes him, unimpressed. "Personal guard? I don't care about your honor. I just want you to leave me alone." Ma Dongpil stays bowed, unwavering, then opens his eyes, burning with passion. "I swear tomorrow I will devote myself to you, third young lord. I will protect you with my life." Hajin recoils internally. "Stop! Don't swear anything. Don't devote yourself. Please just go away." We cut to the next morning. The sun rises above the towering bamboos, casting long golden rays over the hidden courtyard. Amidst the grove, Hajin sits on a rock, silent. Bamboo leaves flutter and settle gently on his head. "What amazing scenery," he murmurs, eyes red. Then the reality hits. He slowly stands, placing his hand on one of the trees. "In the end, there is only one result." He looks up toward the sky. Tears begin falling again. "No matter how hard I try, I can't leave this place." He slams his head against the tree once. Then again, thud, thud, thud. "I hate you, you demon cult bastards. All I wanted was to go out. Did you really have to exile me here?" Then he stops, breathes. His face hardens. "Fine. It's not like this was ever going to be easy. No more useless thoughts." His eyes sharpen with resolve. Why did I want to leave the cult in the first place? Because I had a bad feeling the moment I learned I reincarnated as the third young lord. He steps back from the bamboo. "I'll have to leave someday, but for now, I have no choice but to live as Seor Yang, the demon cult's third young lord." He clenches his fist and punches the tree softly. "To survive in this body, I'll need power. I must get stronger." The scene opens with Hajin standing in the heart of the bamboo grove, his eyes locked on the distant sky. His voice echoes in solemn monologue. "The heavenly demon divine cult upholds the ideology of survival of the fittest more ruthlessly than any other faction in Murim. This isn't a place where I can wait to be culled and kicked out." His jaw tightens, a storm of determination brews in his expression. Eventually, all of them walk the path of martial arts, whether it leads to life or death. He clenches his fist, veins tightening as he lifts his gaze skyward. No more petty tricks. I'll walk out of here with my head held high. By my own strength, I will. Crack. A voice interrupts. My young lord. Hajin freezes. His mouth drops open, eyes widen in terror. Ha! He gasps, recoiling. From behind the bamboo tree emerges Ma Dongpil, his ever-watchful personal guard, just staring. Your meal is ready, please come in, he says flatly. Hajin, still recovering, shouts in frustration, Hey, you scared me! Didn't I tell you not to sneak up on me? Ma Dongpil bows unfazed. But it's been 2 days since we arrived, he replies calmly. You haven't even taken a sip of water, let alone eaten anything. I was merely concerned. 2 days? Hajin blinks in disbelief. He glares at Ma Dongpil, jabbing a finger toward him. Could you maybe not pop out looking like some cursed spirit? Just watch yourself. Ma Dongpil bows again, unfazed. Yes, my lord. Hajin sighs, exhausted. What an inflexible fellow, he mutters. Scene shift, 3 days later. A drone-like shot glides over the dense, solitary bamboo grove. Hajin now sits, cross-legged atop a mossy stone. His aura flickers. Energy slowly radiates around him like shimmering waves in the air. His voice narrates, First, I'll use the boundless technique to realign my body and soul. A golden hue begins to pulse faintly from his body. Sweat trickles down his face. His hair flows in the breeze. The energy builds. Then, a realization. What is this? The cultivation of chi from the boundless technique feels different from before. The air trembles slightly. Even the bamboo around him sways with his rising power. This level, this cultivation, it's the third stage of power? A glowing diagram flashes across the screen. 5 stages of progression. Hajin continues. In my previous life as the Assassin King, I reached the peak of the 4th stage. The boundless technique isn't about enlightenment. It's about unity between the body and the blade. His fingers twitch. His aura thickens. But this weakened body, despite the chi blockage, it's already at the peak of the 3rd stage. And it's on the brink of breaking through. We see a faint vision of an elderly martial master, ghost-like, observing from the shadows. A whisper of awe escapes him. Could it be? This kid is a genius? Green tendrils of aura now weave between the bamboo, drawn to Hajin's presence. They swirl, forming a cocoon of energy around him. His voice continues, deeper now. And on top of that, the purification technique has activated automatically. The surrounding turbid chi is being drawn into my body, purified, and converted into my own internal force. His skin glows faintly. The air around him grows still and bright, almost sacred. This is the power of the boundless technique's suppression. The camera pulls up, revealing the tranquil grove. One young man at its center, wrapped in spiraling energy. A new power is being born. The bamboo forest glows with a swirling current of aura wrapping around trunks, leaves, and roots. Hajin sits motionless at its center, his body a beacon of power. His thoughts echo. When the air becomes pure, the internalization of power multiplies. And when that happens, advancement accelerates. A frown creases his brow. At this rate, I'll recover my former strength, much sooner than I imagined. The energy around him intensifies. Leaves spiral, dust whips away. His aura erupts outward, shaking the grove. Hajin's eyes flash open, but instead of fire, there's only white-hot clarity. Let's advance to the 4th stage of power. From above, we see a pillar of energy shoot up into the sky, lighting the grove like a second sun. 5 days later. The camera sweeps across the serene bamboo canopy, descending to find Hajin, now shirtless, clenching his fists. It's done. His body glistens with sweat, muscles harden, his stance solid. This body, it's been healed. My blood pathways and vital organs are now stronger than this body's physical age. He raises his hands, brushing through his now darker hair. Even my hair's changed. Looks like I'm getting younger. Cut to Hajin devouring food at a small bamboo table. Ma Dongpil stands nearby, arms behind his back, watching like a silent statue. More than anything, I ate well and slept well, Hajin mutters between bites. Oh, Dongpil, you're an excellent cook. Smash cut to Hajin reclining on a bamboo bed, while Dongpil hammers away on another bamboo beam in the background. Hajin continues his inner narration. Also, I've regained the abilities I had in my previous life. A bird flutters overhead. The camera zooms in on Hajin, eyes closed, posture calm, but mind razor sharp. When I was the Assassin King, I awakened an ability, hypersensation. It emerged through constant brushes with death and the skills honed in the shadows. A faint glow surrounds him. The martial art that amplifies that ability is the Heavenly Net 6 power technique. Suddenly, a two-headed chameleon darts across the forest floor. Form 1, Omniscient Sight. It heightens all 5 senses to their peak, beyond that of any beast. Hajin stands perfectly still. His eyes don't move, but his senses are everywhere. Even without turning my head, I can perceive everything vividly. A small smile creeps across his lips. A bird dives, snatching the two-headed lizard in its talons. Hajin simply watches. Chi, I hate how well I've adapted to this place. Snap. Young lord? Ma Dongpil appears once again, half his face poking out from behind a bamboo tree. Hajin flinches. Ah, you scared me again. Your meal is ready, Dongpil says with eerie calm. Hajin scowls, veins popping. You were hiding there the whole time, weren't you? He points a trembling finger. Fine, keep doing this. Let's see who wins. Dongpil bows deeply. Yes, my lord. Hajin stares at him, tears of frustration streaming down his cheeks. He's pretending to be dumb, isn't he? Just to mess with me. The sky shifts, vibrant blue now tinged with the golden hues of dusk. Birds soar through the sky. Dongpil watches Hajin walk ahead through the bamboo path. The demonic monsters become active at nightfall. Let's head back. The two make their way through the grove. Hajin's eyes remain fixed forward. Finally, I've established the foundation needed to practice martial arts properly. If I inject the knowledge and experience I gained as the Assassin King into this body, then it won't be long until I'm strong again. Dongpil's expression suddenly shifts. His gaze sharpens. He senses something. The bamboo trees creak slightly. A glowing eye flashes between two stalks. Dongpil's body tenses. Sweat forms on his brow. What is that? His mind races. Is that a ghost? The wind whispers through the towering bamboo grove, rustling leaves into the air like scattered feathers. In the center of it all sits Chun Hajin, still as stone, eyes closed, aura swirling like a storm held in a bottle. Then he opens his eyes. Boom. A vortex explodes outward, the sheer pressure of his chi blasting trees and leaves away from him in a spinning torrent. His hair lifts, carried by the storm of his energy. He smirks. Thanks to the boundless techniques, I've recovered, at least to a certain extent. The wind rips through the grove as he crouches, then launches himself forward like a bullet. A sonic gust trails behind him as he leaps tree to tree, slicing through the bamboo like a phantom. My two martial prowess are back, he thinks with satisfaction, flipping through the air. The boundless techniques to restore my body. And the Heavenly Net 6 power technique to amplify my hypersensation. Leaves whip around him like blades, but he's not done. Only one thing remains. He lands on a swaying bamboo stalk, then kicks off again, faster. The Dark Shadow QI. A secret art born from the fusion of the elite hidden skills of the 10 great sects. His body glides through the wind, limitless, precise, legendary. A wide smile crosses his lips. These 3 arts, they were the foundation that made me a legend, the Assassin King, Chu Hajin. He soars high, arms wide, basking in the wind. "Whoa!" he shouts, eyes gleaming. "With them, I can be strong again, faster than ever." He lands on a strange bamboo stalk, deep purple in color. The moment his feet touch it, his mind shifts. His smile fades. Wait, he blinks, realization dawning. Am I even allowed to learn Dark Shadow Chi? His eyes widen. This is the heavenly demon divine cult. And I am the third young lord, Seoryang, not Hajin. The bamboo beneath him creaks. Surely Seoryang was learning some kind of demonic art. Crack. Too late. The bamboo splits beneath his feet, flinging him into the sky like a catapult. Ah! Scene shift. The courtyard. Dongpil sweeping the path when, "Hey, Dongpil!" Hajin yells as he storms in. Thud. Dongpil lands in a superhero crouch from seemingly nowhere. "Yes, you called for me, young lord." "Shh! You scared me." Hajin jumps back in terror. Dongpil calmly bows. Hajin composes himself. "There's something I want to ask." "Ask away, young lord." A bead of sweat slides down Hajin's cheek. "Among my brothers, is there anyone who hasn't learned a demonic art? Or has anyone ever practiced a non-demonic martial art?" The two men fall into silence. Dongpil's brows furrow. After a pause, he bows his head slowly. "I am failing to understand your question. My apologies." Hajin stares at him, stunned. Is that even an unthinkable question, he wonders. He steps forward, clarifying. "What if I don't learn any demonic arts?" Dongpil scratches his cheek. "I will wonder if that's even possible. But if any of the young lords or ladies refuse the demonic path..." He lowers his head further, voice solemn. "I dare say the demon lord will be considerably displeased." Hajin falls silent, his mind racing. Then he shouts, "Dongpil." "Yes, young lord. Head to the library, now." Dongpil blinks, startled. Hajin raises his arm with commanding force. "With the authority of the third young lord, bring me all sect texts you can find on the subject of demonic arts." His voice thunders through the courtyard, a mix of grit and fear in his eyes, as he sets his path toward forbidden knowledge. The scene shifts, deep inside the demon lord's palace. A voice echoes, "Secret texts of demonic arts?" The camera pans down to reveal Dongpil, kneeling solemnly before a man cloaked in power. The first royal guard. He gazes down at the young attendant. "That's what the young lord requested?" Dongpil bows again. "Yes, master, that is correct." The royal guard rubs his chin, deep in thought. "The third young lord," he muses. "Surely he already knows those texts. So why..." His thoughts swirl. Is he trying to stimulate himself? Reinforce something lost? Dongpil remains perfectly still, eyes shut in silence, until he suddenly speaks. "Master, forgive the disrespect, but I must ask you something bold." He slowly raises his head, peering through narrow eyes. "As a guardian, it is my duty to understand the one I serve. So I ask, did the third young lord lose his memory after his chi blockage?" The question hangs in the air like a dagger. The royal guard's face hardens. His mind retreats inward. Images begin to surface. Flashback. A younger Seoryang, wild-eyed and cruel, snarls, "You mean me?" He was talented, but arrogant, a tyrant with no regard for others. The royal guard remembers the shift. But ever since his recovery, he's become different. Another memory. One of the servants reporting, "He's not like he used to be. His words, his actions, he seems confused at times." Then another flash. Chun Hajin walking out of the Demonic Judgment Pavilion, alive, unscathed, staring calmly. "Are you here to greet me?" he had asked. The royal guard's expression turns pensive. He remembers Dongpil's report, the strange change in demeanor. Too many signs to ignore. Yet, he straightens his posture, looking down at Dongpil. "Third team leader, I understand why you asked this question, but do not dwell on it." Dongpil bows deeper. "Yes, master. The person you serve is no ordinary man." He is one of the 7 candidates who may succeed the demon cult. The royal guard's tone sharpens. Whether he's truly lost his memory or is playing a game, it doesn't matter. Don't question it further. With a flick of his wrist, he pulls something from his robe. A brass key. He tosses it. It lands in Dongpil's open palm. Dongpil stares down, voice hushed in awe. Master, this is... The royal guard turns his back and walks away. As you know, the long period is 3 days. Mix the secret text with other scrolls. Take 3 or 4, no more. He pauses, then adds coldly, Oh, and one more thing. Dongpil lifts his gaze, attentive. Have you explained the solitary bamboo grove to the young lord? Dongpil hesitates. Not yet. I was planning to today. The royal guard casts a sideways glance without turning around. You know how dangerous it is, don't you? You'll be fine, but explain it properly, and soon. Dongpil nods solemnly, one hand clenched in a fist before his chest. Yes, master. I will serve him with all my ability. The royal guard doesn't respond. He simply walks toward a balcony bathed in golden light, his face caught between sunlight and shadows. He thinks to himself, what did the demon lord see in him to send him to the solitary bamboo grove? The internal monologue continues. The solitary bamboo grove, a demonic forest that existed before the heavenly demon cult ever settled in the 100,000 mountains, a place of death and rebirth. It consumed thousands of demonic humans across 1,000 years when only the first heavenly demon reigned and the cult had no army. And yet, from that cursed land, our power grew. The wind shifts. The grove offers the greatest of gifts to the worthy and drags the unworthy to the depths of hell. The sun casts a radiant glare across his face. This is the second test for the third young lord. He passed the Demonic Judgment Pavilion. He narrows his eyes, almost grim. But will he survive? The bamboo grove? The scene returns to the solitary bamboo grove. The moon hangs high in the night sky, casting a soft glow across the courtyard. The bamboo trees sway gently, bathed in silver light. Inside the house, warm lantern light spills through the windows, illuminating the edges of the grove. 1, 2, 3, 4. A voice counts softly. Inside, Chu Hajin stares bewildered at a mountain of open manuals. 17? He exclaims in disbelief. Why did you bring so many? He clutches his head, stunned. Across the room, Dongpil stands calm. It's not a lot, I only brought the best ones. Not a lot? Hajin shouts again, still reeling. He picks up one of the books, frowning, thinking silently. Shit, do I really have to master demonic arts now? But he stops, focuses, breathes. His expression sharpens. No, if I treat demonic arts as inferior to heavenly arts, I'll never understand them. I need to see them clearly, with no bias. Dongpil steps forward. Young lord, I must inform you. Huh? Out of the 17 texts, 3 must be returned in 3 days. Hajin looks up. Why? Dongpil answers with quiet reverence. Because they are the 10 great demonic arts, secret texts only available to the first, second, and third young lords. Ah, is that so? Hajin replies unfazed. But Dongpil stares at him, hard. The 10 great demonic arts, they are the cult's masterpieces. Even mastering just one can place you above all others. He thinks, distressed. But does he not remember even these? Hajin raises an eyebrow. Why are you looking at me like that? Dongpil bows deeply. Forgive me, young lord, I was disrespectful, but do you truly not remember these texts? No reply, just the slam of a book on the table. Hajin pulls the chair toward him, sits. Hey, Dongpil? Yes, young lord? You know I've lost everything since the chi blockage. His hands clutch his head, elbows on the table. His voice softens. My mind, my heart, they're not what they once were. Dong-pil watches him closely, silent. And technically, Hajin smirks faintly, you and we've been exiled to the solitary bamboo grove. He stares at the towering pile of books. I'm desperate. I need to relearn the demonic arts I've forgotten. He looks up, straight into Dong-pil's eyes. Please, help me. You're my only hope right now. A pause. Also, I'll need some weapons. Can you grab them from the cult at daybreak? Dong-pil trembles. His hand clutches the strap of his bag as tears begin to fall. Wait, why is he crying? Hajin thinks, disturbed. Dong-pil clenches his fist over his palm. I will support you. With my life, young lord. Hajin flinches. Okay, stop. You're burdening me now. The moon glides overhead as time passes. Silence returns to the grove, but in the shadows. Creatures stir. Dark figures crawl through the bamboo, low to the ground, slinking between stalks. Cut to Dong-pil walks quietly beneath the moonlight. He arrives at the outer fence of their secluded courtyard. He places his hand gently against the wooden beams. They'll start getting more active. In about 10 days, he mutters. He scans the perimeter. The barricade stands tall. They haven't made a move yet. We should be fine. He exhales slowly. This is the most secure area in the entire solitary bamboo grove. He turns to glance back at the house. Through the window, Hajin sits alone, immersed in one of the secret texts. The moonlight glows faintly across his face. Dong-pil watches him from afar. He's concentrating. I must ensure nothing disturbs him. A deep breath. I'll retrieve the weapons he asked for as soon as possible. He steps away from the fence, determination burning in his eyes. I can't let my guard down, not even for a second. Suddenly, a strange creature licks its paws in the dark. Its ears twitch. It senses something. Then, a shadow falls across it. It freezes, glares into the camera with razor-sharp eyes. Cut to inside the house. Hajin is fast asleep, his body draped across the manuals. Books surround him. He snores quietly. God damn! Demon Lord! He mutters in his sleep. And that concludes Chapter 10. If you're hooked by Hajin's hidden past, the looming horrors of the bamboo grove, and the rise of the Assassin King reborn, then don't miss what's coming next. Chapter 11 is where secrets unravel, monsters awaken, and power is tested. What lies beyond the veil of the solitary bamboo grove? Find out in the next episode. But before you go, don't forget to tap like if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe for more epic recaps, turn on notifications so you never miss a chapter. And with that being said, Manhwa Champions, we're going to bring this video to an end. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I will catch you all later. Peace.